Alright, let's see if this is gonna work or not. Alright, things seem to be happening. Alright, Ed Fern, all was first. What is up? So we're gonna try something a little different today. Let's see if this all works out. Let me fix a couple things here on YouTube as we get started. Alright, so cool. Let me know, can you guys hear me alright? I'm streaming with some different software today because I'm going to do some different things today. So let me know if you can hear me, and then I'll move on to see if you guys can hear my video I got here of that horrible interview that Earthling Ed had to get subjected to. It sounds good. Alright, cool. Now tell me, do you guys see kind of a split screen thing? It's the first time I did it, so you're kind of like helping me out here. Let me just make sure you guys can hear.
See what they have to say.
Millennial Millie. Let's see. So can you guys? Actually, there's no sound yet. She's actually being quiet for a change as she hits her little protein bar or whatever there. Let's see. She's still being quiet. Okay, now she's mumbling. Okay, seems to work. Cool. Alright, she's gonna go and find their leader. Alright.
Are you the leader?
I'm not, but I can do an interview if you want. Do you have a question?
Alright, cool. So were you guys able to hear Earthling Ed right there? Did that work out? If that works out, then we'll proceed here with this live stream here. Yeah, I saw a bit of Mike's. In fact, yeah, Mike called me up earlier today to get a few pieces of advice on live streaming since he knows I do it on the regs. So yeah, I actually when he called me, I said, yeah, I've been meaning to do this anyway with this Earthling Ed interview. All right, cool, awesome. So let's just kind of wait just for a couple seconds. And now that we know that it all works out, so that's cool. Good to hear. This is my first time doing this kind of split screen thing with a live stream here. So cool. So let me see. Actually, let's just start it. Let's start. I think it starts off kind of slow, and some of the stuff I already debunked and covered on my previous video. The one where I went through point by point. And wasn't based solely off this interview with Ed, but she had other dumb stuff she said that she recorded elsewhere later on. So anyway, let's check it out and let's get started here. Let's see. Let me get back to QuickTime here and start up this interview.
What brings you guys out here? Do these look like tortured animals?
I'll stop it from
It's irrelevant if they look like tortured animals now. They're still going to be killed, aren't they? And if you look at them, a lot of them are emaciated and they've hardly got any grass to feed on because the grass has been shredded so low. So I'd argue even though they're in a field, it's not a very good condition for a cow to be in. And it's irrelevant what conditions they're kept in because they're still going to be slaughtered unnecessarily, aren't they?
They don't really look emaciated to me, as far as I can see. And I'm sure.
Huh, I wonder if she's an expert in cattle ranching, huh? But I mean, Ed raises a good point. They could be the most beautiful cattle ever. Hang on, let me see. My audio's a little hot here, isn't it? Let me just turn it down a little tiny fraction here. Okay, we'll roll with this. I mean, they could be the most beautiful cattle that have ever existed on this planet. But if they're about to be brutally murdered, they will be. I mean, they're in the field right now, but at the end of their life, everyone knows isn't going to be good. So who cares if they're in some kind of great state or not great looking state? But yeah, it's worse that they're not in a good looking state. And I trust Ed. He's seen cattle before. But let's continue on.
You that they probably are also fed grains, as most cattle are in the United States.
But I would also say that that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what life they give, and they're still going to be slaughtered. And I'd ask you, how do you justify taking their life if it's unnecessary?
Well, what I would say is, how do you justify banning meat across the whole population? Are you talking about banning meat in America or globally?
Oh, first of all, let me say what this interview's from. You saw bits of these clips from the video I did a few days ago, but there's an entire, I have it here, like a 40-odd minute interview that she did with Ed on Facebook Live. So I downloaded the video and got it up here and thought we'd have a little entertainment going through this thing. So what was that last point she just said there? Let me just wind back. Sorry about that. I just want to give you guys context for what's going on in this interview here. All right.
Animals now, they're still going to be killed, aren't they? And if you look at them, a lot of them are emaciated and they've hardly got any grass to feed on because the grass has been shredded so low. So I'd argue, even though they're in a field, it's not a very good condition for a cow to be in. And it's irrelevant what conditions they're kept in, because they're still going to be slaughtered necessarily, aren't they?
They don't really look emaciated to me, as far as I can see. And I'm assuring you that they probably are also fed grains, as most cattle are in the United States.
But I would also say that that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what life they give, and they're still...
Huh, that's weird. Is she making it sound like feeding them grains is like some cow, like a bad thing? I mean, that's just standard practice. Or is she believing like only grass-fed bison or something like that? Either way, they're all going to get killed, right?
Be slaughtered. And I'd ask you, how do you justify taking their life if it's unnecessary?
Well, what I would say is, how do you justify banning meat across the whole population? Are you talking about banning meat in America or globally?
Well, what we're asking is, we're not asking about banning something, we're asking people to make more conscious and ethical choices, which is reducing their consumption and eliminating their consumption themselves.
I wonder where she got this idea that Ed, or she didn't even know who he was 5 minutes ago, but, you know, vegans have this agenda, this political agenda. Somehow we're like, you know, we have lobbyist groups, we're trying to ban meat. I've never heard of such a thing. I'm sure deep down inside, most of us think, yeah, that's probably, you know, not a bad idea, something at least to consider, but I've never seen them out and chatting in the street. We got to ban meat. Let's get some politicians and ban meat. So again, she's kind of creating an issue that's not really what Ed's about. But let's go on here.
It's not about us banning something, because we realize it's probably very impossible to ban something. But if we encourage people to stop their consumption, then naturally the amount that's raised and produced will be dropped until it's no longer relevant in society.
Let me ask you, what moral code are you using?
Notice how she didn't even respond to that very cogent point that Ed made there. Yeah, we'll have fewer cows needed as people stop eating cows. She doesn't, I mean, that's a great point. That's how meat will get banned, just by having it be reduced. The demand goes down, the amount of cattle that they raise will go down. She doesn't even, I mean, that's what I always tell people. It's never going to happen overnight. It's not going to, I don't see how would it happen? You know, like we're all going to get zapped by the divine being and we're all going to wake up, everyone, vegans and not, like, wow, we'll never eat cows and pigs again. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to be a gradual thing. It's going to happen naturally. But that's a great point, and she doesn't want to hear anything about that.
Say that it's wrong to kill animals for meat.
The same moral code that we have towards each other, which is that we're alive, that we suffer, that we have pain, and that we want to live. And because of that, we realize that we shouldn't harm each other. Now, the animals are alive, they're sentient, they're conscious, they can feel pain, they can suffer just like us, which is why I use the same moral code, which is just let them live if we can, which of course we can.
A great point, Ed, and also too, what I think how Ed could have even made that point even stronger. He does a wonderful job. I'm not bagging on him in any way, but I can see when she's saying the word animals, she's only thinking of farm animals, and there's all kinds of animals. There's only maybe like 5 or 10 farm animals worldwide, and there's thousands and thousands of different animals. You know, we could be talking about a dog, you know, a cat, pets, or you know, just other animals that, you know, like possums, you know, stuff like that, squirrels. Like, just because I'm outside of my front yard and Mr. Nut Buddy comes by, I should kill him just because he's an animal? But anyway, yeah, it would have been, I think, better to let her know all animals, not just these farm animals. All animals want to live. All animals don't want to die a brutal death by a hunter, by a slaughterhouse, or anything like that.
So, would you say that you're using the same code when you say that we shouldn't kill each other, to apply that to not killing animals?
I think it's not necessarily about it being the same code. It's just the fact that we don't have to do these things.
Well, it is. There is a similarity there. I mean, humans, you know, we don't want to be harmed. We don't want to get clobbered over the head or shot or killed or anything like that. We want to continue living, and that's what animals want to do too. They don't want to get killed. There is a parallel there.
Don't have to, there's no moral justification for it because it's unnecessary. So it's no matter what species the form takes, if we don't have to, then we shouldn't, you know.
So let's talk about you know, the plan and aspect of if you were to try to move toward a veganism diet for the entire global population.
It's funny how these non-vegans, these anti-vegans, like I had to encounter that same argument from Bright Eyes. They think like the whole world's going to go vegan. That's a great goal, but again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in every country at the same time or anything like that. She's just setting up this scenario that's just not, you know, not realistic going to happen anytime soon.
How would that be sustainable? And as far as what we've seen regarding
Sustainable, we already have enough land to feed all the humans, or most of the humans, and all the 70 billion farm animals raised for slaughter. So it already is sustainable. We already have all the resources, all the water, all the land. But anyway,
agriculture use and with plants, vegetables, crops, and everything like that. Are you aware that the amount of arid land, farmable land that we have in this country couldn't necessarily sustain everyone in the world have...
It's already being done. What is she talking about? We're already sustaining everyone in the world. At least people have access to food, and the reason why those people don't have access to food is because grains that could be fed to them are being fed to animals, cattle, and all, so that other people can eat them. But we already raise enough food right now. What part of that does she not get? It's just a basic fact that to raise an animal for food, you got to put in way more food inputs than the food output you get out of it. It's just a basic fact. Some say it's like 5 times, some say it's 10 times, 20 times of how much you have to put in versus what you get out. So I don't know where is she saying that we have to... I can't imagine any scenario how we'd need more land, more water, more everything to raise less food. It makes no sense. Just basic math.
A vegan diet.
But that's not actually true, because the majority of the crops that we grow, we feed to livestock animals that it is. And in fact, all the grain that's used in this country alone could feed 800 million humans, which means we could eradicate world hunger with just the grain that's fed to animals in this country alone. So the sustainability issue is kind of a non-issue when it comes to to a vegan lifestyle, because veganism is the only way we can live sustainably with our planet, because a non-vegan diet is destroying our environment in so many different ways.
We know that I've done a lot of research into veganism, okay?
Oh, really? She's done a lot of research into veganism. I don't remember this part of the interview. This should be interesting. I want to hear a lot of research into veganism. But first of all, before we go there, I'm gonna look at the comments here. Do you guys have any idea where is she getting this? Is this some kind of like talking point from her Infowars crew that it requires more land and more water to raise plants than it does to raise plants and all the extra plants you need to feed all the animals, the 70 billion animals that we raise every year? Where is she even getting this from? I mean, I've never even heard that many people I see a lot of anti-vegans. I debunk a lot of them. And this is kind of a weird one. This is not one you see all the time because it's so patently false. Any of you guys have any ideas where this crazy non-factual alternative fact notion comes from? Let me see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. Yeah, you guys don't know either, huh? You guys are at a loss just as much as I am, huh? Anyway, all right, cool. Let's go back and see what a lot of research Millennial Millie has done into veganism. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm quite excited to hear this. A lot of research.
And I don't knock you guys for being vegans. I think it's a personal choice.
Right. She doesn't knock us, guys. Well, she just made a whole video how it's this globalism thing, which is bad because, food might have to cross an international border. But the microphone she's holding is, not from here. That's cool, and I doubt most of her clothes are. Anyway, let's see what she's gonna say.
But what I would say is we do both know that you cannot just live off of grains. You have to have
who's talking about living just off of grains? And in fact, there are people that do live off a lot of grains, like say in Vietnam, one of the highest rice-eating countries per capita in the world. Yeah, they eat a lot of rice, but they do eat other things. No one said just go on a pure rice diet. Yeah, put vegetables in with your food. Again, she's making up a scenario I've never heard of. Who lives off just grains?
Balanced diet if you're trying to be a vegan. You have to have lots of greens, fruits, and a plethora, and a lot of those.
Okay, she does know that. I'll give her that. That's maybe one of the better things, the least untrue thing she said this whole time. So let's continue on.
The produce items that you guys live off are actually more tropical, like bananas, mangoes, papayas.
not everyone is into fruit. I know many vegans who rarely ever eat fruit. I mean, I'm, a fruit eater, you guys know, but not all the fruit I eat is from outside the country, as you guys know. Right now is cherry season. I'm chomping so many cherries. I plunked down $40 at Farmer's Market last week for cherries. A week before that, like $30. I'm spending a lot of money on cherries right now. And guess what? They're grown in Southern California. Anyway.
Things like that. So what about the impact that you would be having on these other nations that you would be having to transport, using more oil and more fossil fuel?
Oh, okay. So let me get this. So when carnivores or omnivores, whatever, meat eaters eat fruit, that's fine. And but when vegans eat fruit, oh my God, it's so bad. That fruit has to come from other parts of the country. How come she's not taking this argument to someone like that in the like the supermarket industry or something like that? Why is this the responsibility of vegans?
And the impact that would have on the environment. Do you take into effect how that would have an impact on our environment?
Well, I think you raise a good issue. But
yeah, she does raise a good issue, but then, I mean, like I said, pretty much everything about this person, Millennial Millie, involves globalism. As I pointed out, her microphones that her boss and Alex Jones use are imported from China. They had to be shipped here, and like I said, they could have chosen American-made mics, but they chose to go with some cheaper Chinese versions. Just shows you how much they really care about globalism and not importing things from international borders. But I'm sure if I used a Chinese mic, I would get a lot of crap for it, right? But it's okay for them.
The point is, in America alone, there's so many crops and so many fruits and vegetables that are grown here that we wouldn't necessarily need to import lots of vegetables.
Exactly my point, Ed. I mean, yeah, like as we showed in our farmers market videos, we buy so much produce that's from California. And as Ed pointed out later, yeah, some of these California avocados make their way to the Midwest and East Coast. That's still not globalism. So yeah, you could sustain yourself. And a lot of people in the comments, right, from much colder, more northern climates than where we live at, say they get pretty much all their food locally.
And fruits from abroad. Yes, of course, some are, but we wouldn't necessarily need to up the intake of those that we produce from abroad. We could just up the intake of those that we produce here. So you could still get all the nutrients you need, but from fruits, vegetables, crops and grains that you produce in this country. And if you want to talk about crops and grains being transported from other countries, a lot of what these cows are fed is soy, GMO soy, that's grown in places like Brazil and South America, where huge amounts of the Amazon is destroyed to make way for the soybean plantations. So, when we look at sustainability again, it's still much more sustainable and environmentally conscious to be vegan than non-vegan.
Well, if you want to talk about feeding cattle grains, right, and how that's not sustainable. Well, I will agree to an extent.
Actually, she's wrong there. As much as I am against about cows being kept in feedlots, factory farming, if you will, it is actually the most sustainable. It's the most efficient. It uses less water than grass-fed cows do. It's more efficient. That's actually sustainable. There's not enough land on planet Earth to even have like a quarter of the population live off grass-fed beef. We would need another planet. We'd need to terraform the moon, maybe Mars, to get like half the planet eating grass-fed beef. So actually she's wrong. As horrible as factory farming is, it is the most sustainable way to do it. But anyway, just shows you how she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, what is her alternative? To go grass-fed? There's just not enough land. There's not enough water.
In that regard with you, but we both also know that the cattle weren't meant to be eating those grains. They're meant to be eating grass. They're actually healthier when they're grass-fed. And that's why there's a premium on grass-fed meat. People want to consume grass-fed meat.
Okay, again, it might be healthier, perhaps, I don't know, but it's not sustainable. You can't do it. We physically don't have enough land unless you terraform another planet or two and find ways to create more water.
Here, the meat's healthier, the animal's healthier. So if you want to look at sustainability, okay, we could talk about if you had grass-fed cows, well, you couldn't complain about deforestation from grain produce, but if you're still wanting to...
Not necessarily so. I mean, what's going on in the Amazon right now? They're clear-cutting rainforests. Some of it's to raise grains, but a lot of it's to raise cattle on those lands too, feeding off the land. So,
talk about, okay, let's switch everyone to a vegan diet. Well, you would have to use virtually all of the arable cropland.
She keeps saying this, and she has no evidence. In fact, as I said, we'll use less land. You need less land to feed people plants than to feed people plants, and 70 billion animals a year plants as well. We already raise enough plants, considering we're feeding the people and the animals. If you take the farm animals out of the equation, we are gold. I don't know where she's getting this from.
In the entire world to try to feed and sustain our current global population, and that doesn't account for if our population increases. Right. So, are you essentially pushing for globalism because you'd have to have a global community all organized and working together to try to accomplish that goal?
Again, that's not necessarily so. And again, like a lot of people say they live in a smaller country, and they, like in Europe, they need to trade with countries right next door to them. Is that bad? I mean, to send something across, like, a border in Europe might only be like 10, 15 miles. It's shorter than transporting stuff from farmers market to where the farms come from. So it's all kind of relative. You're still going to use oil, but I don't know what her problem is. Why is it so wrong for a country to trade with another country if they need to? But you don't even need to for veganism.
Question is, are you promoting globalism?
So we'll start from the beginning. So the grass-fed beef one's an interesting one. Now the reason that we don't...
All right, cool. I bet Ed's going to educate her here. I'd like to see how she responds, but I notice this is not even a debate or a dialectic. Ed speaks very cogently, clearly, makes great points, and she ignores them and usually comes back with the point she said before that was wrong. Like she never even heard him.
Always have grass-fed beef is because there's simply not the space. To have grass-fed beef would require loads more space, which would take even more land, which we don't have.
But no. It wouldn't require arable land. You can have grass-fed beef in land that is not farmable for vegetation. So Colorado, certain areas, but that land is actually more vast, and we actually have way more of it than we do farmable land.
But it still takes up that land, and the issue of cows is all the methane gas emissions that they produce. Now, the animal agriculture enterprise is responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than the entire transportation system.
I wonder what she thinks about that. Is she going to come back with an answer to that? Doubt it.
Combined. So say let's eliminate Amazon rainforest destruction. It's still terrible for our environment due to the greenhouse gas emissions that are put into our environment.
Well, we all know that the dinosaurs actually produced way more methane gas, and it didn't end up killing the Earth. Okay, so the Earth is fine.
Yeah, the Earth is still here, but a lot of species became extinct over time. I mean, say humans, just, pretend you're not even, if you're a climate change denier, just go along with this. A lot of people say the Earth will be fine. Yeah, the Earth will be fine, but will humans be fine? Will other primates be fine? Well, how many animals need to go extinct? Yeah, the Earth will still be here. Mountains will still be here. Who knows what the temperature will be like? Who knows what the climate will be like? The planet will survive, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about having us as a species and having us survive and not taking down every other living, species larger than a cockroach with us. Yeah, the Earth will be fine, but we're concerned about the Earth plus its inhabitants.
But we want to talk about not destroying not destroying forests and habitat.
Yeah, but the dinosaurs farted methane. The cows can fart methane too. The dinosaurs didn't destroy the world. Well, if you do some Googling on it, actually I did look at that one earlier. Let's just go there really quickly. Let's see. And she said it didn't destroy the world, but there is discussion about how dinosaurs' gases did affect the atmosphere. So, she's trying to make it sound like that. She's trying to make it sound like the dinosaurs' methane had no effect on climate or atmosphere, and it turns out it did. They're still not sure exactly how much. So again, her point is off there too. All right, let's get back to it.
If you wanted to essentially switch to veganism, well, what would you end up having to do? You'd end up having to mow down more forests in arable land to plant vegetable fields.
Well, we've already grown enough food to feed between 10 and 12 billion people.
Yes! We already grow enough food to feed more than the world, 1.5 times over most likely. Yet, why are there hungry people? Because food's not going to the people. We're already growing. That's the point. What part of her brain is rejecting the information? We already grow more than enough food to feed everyone.
But the food that we grow, we feed to the livestock animals in the first place. The land is there. We just have to change what we're producing on that land, or at least change where that food is going on the land that's...
Yes. Okay, that's so clear. I mean, it's something like, a third grader should be able to comprehend, understand, and respond to. I forgot what happened here. Let's see if it makes a dent, or does she just go back to repeating her stupid crap, how we'll need to have more land. She's not listening.
Or where the crops are produced. So 82% of starving children live in countries where food is grown to feed livestock animals in the West. So the countries that need that food most are the ones that are growing it, but then we're taking off them to feed to the cows and chickens and sheep and every animal that we eat in this country and indeed across the West in general. So the argument against it's kind of a non-argument because the food's already been grown.
Yes, Ed, thank you. It's a non-argument. Like I said, I've never seen really anyone try to argue this point because it's just so stupid. It's just so factually incorrect. So let's see, does this make a dent on Millennial Millie? Or does she just continue to ignore facts and truth and come back with her own BS? And yes, someone said there, how does he remain so calm? It's because, when you talk to people like this over and over and over again, you can't keep getting crazy on them. You got to stay calm.
Is already there. We could reduce the amount of land that we need to use through growing plants alone because humans consume a lot less plants than cows and pigs do.
But I'd like to get some clarification or explanation from you on is how would you be able to not use any animal byproducts at all, even when it comes...
Oh man, I hate that argument. I remember I had to debunk that, and Mike the vegan debunked it too, and Magic Pill, who's that lady that was, supposed to have been a vegetarian or vegan all those years, and she was the one saying, hey, I realized I was trying to grow food locally, but when I went to my crappy local gardening store and bought like bone meal and blood meal, that's all they had, which are cheap waste byproducts from animal slaughterhouses. That's not the only thing you can amend your soil with, and I hate that argument. Ever hear of veganic farming? I farm all the time here. I'm growing food out in my front yard, and I've never put animal bits in there. What does she think?
It's agriculture. Yeah. You use fertilizers that come from blood.
No, you don't have to use that.
Feces.
Yeah, compost. In fact, I just got a bag of compost 2 days ago from my kind of cheap local gardening store, and I made sure to read really carefully. It says all like green waste, recycled green waste, no bone or bat, guano, nothing like that. You don't have to use animal bits, only if you're looking for the cheapest, crappiest stuff.
Of animals. So even when you think you're not playing a role in animals being used or killed or exploited, well, every time you're eating your vegetables, those vegetables were grown with animal fertilizer. So
really, like every time you know what the word every means, guys? It means always, 100%. There's no wiggle room there. Saying every time you eat a vegetable, it was always grown in soil or agricultural methods that involved animal cruelty products. Really? How does she know that?
So without animal fertilizer, right, if you get...
You don't have to use animal fertilizer, Billy.
...rid of the entire animal industry, how would you then grow your plants?
What's Ed going to say? Millie, you're right. We're screwed. Without using dead animal products in the soil, there's no way we could grow food ever. Not.
The other thing is the reason that we use manure and animal fertilizers is because we have so much of it, right? And a lot of it's put into our rivers, into our streams, into our fields, and it pollutes and kills a lot.
And why do we have so much of it? It's a cheap waste byproduct of animal slaughter.
But it's also highly fertile and effective. Of
course it is, but
I could throw dead Millie body out there, and I'm sure it'd be great for the soil. But it doesn't mean that's what we should use.
Other alternatives that we can use, other nitrate-rich substances that we can use instead. So the issue isn't necessarily that we'll be able to produce these foods, because we still would. We just find another alternative that wasn't manure, because the only reason we use the manure is because we have so much of it because of all the animals that we raise.
Yes.
Well, that's not the only reason we use it. It's because there's a symbiotic relationship.
No, there's nothing necessary about it. You can throw, all sorts of stuff. I remember my video on the magic pill debunking. I talked to my local citrus farmer, and he uses seaweed.
Between all plants and all nature and the whole cycle of life. It's not the only reason just because it's available. It's because...
No, you're just trying to make it into this beautiful fantasy of life and death all intertwined. It's not like that.
It's what we've been using for a very long time.
There are alternatives in place that we can use instead.
They're not even alternatives. They're methods that have been used for a long time. But yeah, they are alternatives to using these cheap, crappy products that profit the animal killing industries.
That would be just as effective for doing it.
Are you talking about plant compost?
Yeah, plant compost would be good. We could use.
Well, how do you produce the plants? What I'm saying is, when you go to the store and you buy your plant compost, a lot of the plants that were used in the plant compost were grown with meat fertilizers. So wouldn't that disrupt the entire cycle if you were to completely remove animals from the mix?
But it's going to be such a gradual change over a long period of time. We'll have a long time to adjust into that. It's not an overnight thing where like, okay, there's no more animal fertilizer.
Yeah, the plants that are grown now veganically, they will decompose veganically. You can use that. Yeah, the more veganic plants you have, the more veganic compost you'll be able to use in the future. And like I said, there's other sources too. Like I said, seaweed. And what was the other thing our farmer used for nitrogen? I forgot what it was. It was some other plant matter too.
Let's just use this plant fertilizer instead. It's going to be such a gradual shift that we'll be able to change accordingly as that shift continues. So it's never going to be like, oh my God, what are we going to do today? Because we'll have many, many years or even decades to kind of figure that out and slowly change it as the system changes.
And the other thing is, in the agriculture process, crude oil and fossil fuels are heavily used. You have in every aspect of the process with industrial farming. You've got the processing, harvesting, you've got fertilizing, every aspect.
I mean, she's setting herself up for a trap here. If she's talking about like fossil fuels, I mean, if we're talking about what's the end result of that is greenhouse gas emissions, again, it's the animal agriculture that has the most greenhouse gas emissions.
Site control, everything, they are using tons of fossil fuel, especially with transportation. There's been studies and research out there that's indicated that veganism, and if everyone in the United States were to adopt a vegan diet, that it would actually have a major impact on a lot of these other nations. For example, in some South American countries where avocados and quinoa is produced, it's driven up the price for the natives there to where they can't even afford foods grown in their own native.
Oh yeah, and again, let's just take what the last thing she said about like quinoa and avocados being more expensive in developing countries. How is this a vegan thing? Exactly. I mean, are vegans eating half the avocado output of Mexico or 100%? Why is this a vegan thing? And it ignores the fact that we can grow these foods in the United States. But yeah, when everyone talks about vegans are driving up the price of quinoa, like really, like what's the percent of vegans that actually what percent of quinoa is actually consumed by vegans? Maybe like 5%. You can't blame it on us. Blame it on yourself, Millie.
Environment. Do you feel like the vegan diet is truly a sustainable, reasonable solution?
Yeah, and then again, say she's right. Say avocados get too expensive in some countries. You don't have to eat avocados. As we've shown, the base foundation of a plant-based diet that's done in third world countries is the way I do it here in this privileged United States. Grains, the cheapest foods in the world. Legumes, some of the cheapest foods in the world. Potatoes and other tubers, cheap foods. Bananas, one of the cheapest fruits, per calorie. It's absolutely sustainable. These are the plantains, this is what people eat. They're not buying expensive stuff.
It's an interesting point that you raise, and I don't think by any stretch of the imagination a vegan world will cure all of the world's ills, because we've got so many other situations of oppression, injustice, and
veganism won't fix all the political ills of the world, for sure.
Of corruption in place. And the issue that you describe isn't an issue with veganism, it's an issue with the economic and socio-political system that we have in general. So that isn't necessarily a criticism of what a vegan world would look like. But as I say, it's not going to cure all the world's problems, but what it will do is it'll create a system that is more sustainable. There's always more sustainable steps we can continue to take, reducing our carbon footprint in other ways. But it's the single biggest thing or the single smallest thing we can do that has the biggest impact is going vegan. And all these other issues we do have to address: single-use plastic, greenhouse gas emissions from other sources, absolutely, crude oil use. But it's such a pivotal and significant thing that we can do that'll have such a huge impact.
I'm sure she's not going to respond to anything he said there. What do you guys say? $5? She says nothing about that. and just moves on to her next stupid talking point.
You know that it's estimated that around 300 animals, that includes groundhogs, rodents.
Oh no, is she going for the combine animals getting sucked up in the combine harvester thing?
Birds, animals in the wild or in agricultural settings are killed per.
And again, yeah, she's going there. And again, this is a problem of agriculture. She enjoys the outputs of this horrible type of agriculture. Her beef, I'm sure she eats, isn't all grass fed. She's eating grains she's probably eating grains, right? She's eating vegetables. It's not just vegans that eat plants. She eats plants too, and she eats the dead animals that ate these plants too, but she's going to blame it on vegans. How hypocritical, how convenient. I hate that argument. Vegans aren't the only people that eat plants. And if you really are concerned about that, as you should be, try to buy as much food as you can that's not grown in that giant corporate agribusiness complex. You can get foods that are grown locally on smaller farms, mid-sized farms. You don't have to have food that's grown in the most gigantic monoculture situation. Anyway, let's see.
1 acre of agriculturally farmed land that is for vegetable production. Right. So around 300 animals are killed when you do a farm.
300? Where does she get this from? When you do a farm, 300 animals are killed? I mean, let's put that in quotes and paste that around the world. Millennial Millie, when you do a farm, 300 animals are killed.
Culturally per acre. Yeah. That's actually more.
Per acre, she's saying. Okay.
Than per acre of animals that are killed with cattle grazed.
Okay, see, she's right. You can't just live off cattle. Unless your name is former Dr. Sean Baker, you can't live just off cattle. You're still going to have to eat vegetables. You're still going to have some fruits. So your argument sucks. It has to do with changing how food is produced. It has nothing to do with being vegan.
With cattle farmed land. So to say that you're not participating in the killing of animals is unrealistic. To think that we're not playing any role.
Okay, that's the appeal to futility fallacy. Meaning, okay, things just can't be perfect. You know, when you're vegan, you might step on a bug when you're crossing the street, or when you go outside and harvest your homegrown kale, you might squash a bug or disturb its eggs that it planted on your kale. So, you know, if you're harming sentient beings, perhaps even stepping on them, you know, you're killing. So veganism is impossible. So you might as well kill 70 billion animals annually for meat. It's just a horrific fallacy. I hate, that's my worst one. Appeal to futility. And if you look at the definition of vegan, it doesn't say 100% perfect all the time. It says trying to reduce harm and killing of animals as much as is practically possible. It doesn't say everything's going to work out perfectly in life.
Regardless if you eat vegan or regardless if you eat meat.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like, I'm the first to admit, if you ask me, that small animals like rodents and small birds and stuff die in the production of crops. That's an unfortunate situation they're in. But for the most...
And actually, you know, we did a video a few years ago where we actually talked to our local farmers here and asked them, you know, like, just try to be straight up. Do you ever have situations, not ever, like, is it a common situation where you're out harvesting on your small farm and you're killing, you know, rodents, you're killing raccoons, you're killing whatever? And it pretty much said no. It's a complete rarity when something like that happens. It's not the norm. As Millie's making out here, it happens 300 animals per acre. These guys have many acres, and this is not the norm. It's bullcrap. It might be the norm, again, if you're buying food produced in that horrible mass agriculture business complex, but it doesn't have to be that way. Animals don't have to die when food is harvested or grown.
But if you think about it, it takes up to 16 kilograms of plants to produce 1 kilogram of animal products, which means that vastly more plants are used in the production of animal products, which means that vastly more acres of land are used in the production of animal products, which means that vastly more small animals like rodents and little birds and mice and stuff are killed in the production of animal products generally. So even as a vegan, I know I am responsible for those animals being killed on some level, but the fact is it's still less animals, and it's about that intentional killing. When we go into
it's a way less. If you add up like how many pounds of animals have to die in order for like someone like Earthling Ed or myself to live, it's probably ounces, and a lot of it's probably bugs and stuff. But how many pounds of animals are required to sustain Millennial Millie or her big Alex Jones boss over the course of a year? It might be hundreds compared to, like, say, one. See, that's the argument the appeal to futility that they say that because you're killing like a half a pound of bugs and rodents, it gives me the right to kill hundreds of pounds of innocent animals. It doesn't compute. It doesn't. There's no moral equivalency there.
Market, we buy steak, bacon, eggs, dairy, whatever it is, we're consciously and intentionally paying for an animal to die on our behalf when we don't have to.
Yes, that's consciously intending to pay for an animal to die when it doesn't have to. That's the difference.
We have to eat something, and we have to eat plants.
Okay, so what's your plan? Okay, you guys say you want to shut down farms like this that have cattle and pigs and chickens. What happened?
I mean, not shut them down. This changed their production methods over. I've seen this happen like, maybe a dozen times so far when I've read articles and met dairy farmers that shut down their dairy farming production. In fact, some of these, I thought, what's the one out here? Anyway, they've converted over to nut-based dairy, nut cheeses, nut-based milk. So you don't have to shut down. It's not like all these people will become unemployed. They can just do something else. And if they don't want to keep doing dairy, like, switching over to plant-based dairy from cow dairy, they can do something else with their land. They can raise other foods, other crops there. It's not like it's raise cows and chickens or you'll be out of business forever. You have to adapt and change with the times.
To those animals, you do realize that those animals have been bred in a certain way to be used for us domestically.
Yeah, humans manipulated through selective breeding to produce these giant, say, cattle that we have now. These didn't exist thousands of years ago.
Chicken today is nothing like the original fowl that we took from the forest and bred and made fatter and bigger and less capable of escaping from predators.
Okay, so now she's trying to be an animal rights advocate, like we need to protect these animals that humans created. Where is she going with this?
So how long do you actually think a chicken will last in a wild if you just released it?
Oh, God. Oh, Paul, sorry if I took your the Lord's name in vain. I'm a Buddhist, so no intention there. I just so exasperated by her comments there. Like, where is it? Where have vegans made videos or speeches saying, yes, let's take the 70 billion farm animals that we raise for the slaughter every year and stop slaughtering them and release these 70 billion animals who have no knowledge on how to deal with living in the wild or in urban environments, wherever they get released to. That's not the plan. As I've talked about before, and I'm sure Ed's going to get into, as the demand for meat products goes down and down because the world turns more plant-based and vegan, farmers aren't dumb. They don't want to lose money. They'll raise fewer and fewer animals. I've never heard it proposed ever that we release all these animals who have no means to survive on their own into the wild. It's a BS argument. Never will happen.
They won't, but the thing is, right, as the world shifts to veganism, it'll be a gradual shift, which means that the number of animals that we breed will obviously reduce accordingly as the number of vegans rises, because farmers aren't going to breed animals they know they can't sell.
So the animals will just disappear.
Right, well, so the animals that we breed, the ones that, as you rightfully admitted yourself, aren't natural animals who can't survive without our help, will disappear. But what that'll allow is for this farmland that we have now to
Well, again, they won't necessarily disappear. I know she's going to go off and say they'll become extinct. Like, no, they don't have to become extinct. We just don't need to raise 70 billion of them every year to kill them. You don't need 70 billion farm animals to perpetuate them into the future. I'm sure that we can get by with a population of a few thousand or tens of thousands, and they're not raised for slaughter, kept on sanctuaries. Because why? They're beautiful. Ever go to a sanctuary and pet these beautiful pigs and kiss them? People want that. People want to have that experience, to know that animals are beautiful, and they should be preserved.
Populate.
We shouldn't just let their genetics die out.
Natural ecosystems to replenish, which allow natural wildlife to restock in those natural areas. So we can have wild roaming deer, wild roaming boar, wild roaming, all the birds and everything that are on the brink of extinction can come back in these land areas that we decimated for agriculture.
Yep, I don't think she has a response for that. Probably she didn't figure that in her deep research into veganism.
So the animals that we bred unfairly and disgustingly to die at 6
But
weeks
if you're
old,
going to create more agriculture, how are you going to then not...
We're not going to... How many times does Ed have to tell her there is absolutely zero need to create more agriculture? We have we have more than enough agriculture now, enough land, enough water, enough resources to produce enough food to feed the world 1.5 times over at least. We don't need more agriculture. She's just not listening. She's just repeating her same BS. This is not a debate she's having with Ed here. It's not a dialectic. She's not trying to arrive at some kind of truth of the matter. She's just, no matter what the truth is, what the facts are, her opinions do not change. Truth is one thing, opinions are a whole nother thing. The truth and facts don't affect your opinions.
Like, what you're saying is, okay, we decimated those lands for agriculture, to feed animals, right? Yeah. But we also would need to create more land for agriculture if we're having to feed humans without meat, because
no,
currently we do rely on a large portion of our diet for meat. You know that Americans mostly eat meat, so...
No, actually, if you look at the typical diet of your standard American eater, it's not predominantly 50% or more meat. They're eating a lot of plants too. Yeah, most Americans do eat meat. She's right in that. Most Americans do eat meat. But what they're eating is not mostly meat.
You would actually...
They need plants too.
Have to mow down way more animal habitat in order to feed ourselves.
But like I said before,
like he said before, how many times does poor, nice Ed here have to repeat the same thing, and it's going to have the same effect on her closed-minded, fact-challenged brain? None.
Grow enough food to feed between 10 and 12 billion people globally, and the grain alone in this country, America, that we feed to livestock animals could feed 800 million other humans, which is just about the number of people that are living in a state of starvation. So actually, it's not true we could use less land, and we're already growing enough crops because cows and pigs eat way more food than we eat on a daily basis.
And I'm sure she's not going to respond to any of that, right, guys?
Grain, like I said before, you can't live off the grain. Right, humans aren't even meant to eat that much grain.
No, she's wrong. I mean, if you live in Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam, assuming you're not like super wealthy or anything, you're eating primarily grains, but you're not eating only grains. But yeah, in the sense like, she thinks Americans eat 50% of their calories or more from meat, which isn't true. People in Vietnam are getting the majority of their calories from grains. Like in Okinawa, they're getting the majority of their calories from sweet potatoes and rice, over 50%.
Very unhealthy for
the classic traditional Okinawan diet. I'm not talking about the diet that the millennial Okinawans or the young Okinawans are eating now.
Ourselves. So you would have to look into you'd have to have a balanced diet, and like I said,
even meat eaters need to have some kind of balanced diet, meaning not eating just meat, like former Dr. Sean Baker, who is now diabetic according to his hemoglobin A1C test and his fasting glucose test. Yeah, he finds ways to ignore and dispute those readings. But anyway, let's continue on.
It comes from tropical regions. A lot of that stuff, the mangoes, papayas, bananas.
You could be a happy, healthy vegan and not ever eat mangoes and papayas or even bananas. Sorry.
And the impact that it would have on those areas would be pretty big, wouldn't you say?
But it doesn't have to come from those areas.
Yep, doesn't have to come from those areas. In fact, there's mangoes growing in the United States. California has a mango harvest every fall, and they're the most delicious mangoes I ever had.
Import some fruits and some vegetables and some grain stuff in those areas, which is good for the economy in many senses. But we don't have to produce to get all of our fruits and vegetables from those areas. We can grow them here. So the places that we're currently growing all the wheat and the soy and the corn and the barley and the maize for animals, we can totally take that down and grow the foods that we want to eat instead there. Because the land is there, the farmers have that land, they can shift the agriculture.
That implies that all farmland is equal, and it's not.
I mean, yeah, it's not equal. There's different fertilities, there's different climates, different, as far as temperatures go, as far as rainfall goes. Just go to any farmer's market, Millie, you'll see there's plenty of fruit being produced in the United States, particularly in the summertime. But yeah, it's going to be different fruit, different foods in different regions. So what? People can eat more of the foods that are in their region. If, there's not a lot of cherries where you live, you can eat some other fruit there. And in different times of the year. You can't always have the same food every day. There's food is seasonal.
So there are areas where you can grow grain and corn, and you cannot grow other vegetables.
Okay, then don't eat corn. But then it's all in the United States. Say you live in Rhode Island, where they don't grow much corn, I assume. You can still buy corn from southern United States, and that's not contributing to her globalism, the evil globalism, when a food product goes across another nation's border, or any kind of product. So you can still do within the United States shipments.
You would have to import tons and tons of different soil and amendments, and it's
What? You have to import a bunch of soil from whom? You have to import, now, not only do we need to import fruit from other countries or corn, you have to import soil too from other countries? And again, that's a vegan thing?
just not practical and not reasonable. So to say that all farmland is equal is the problem.
I never said that all.
Yeah, to say that. Finally, I said, I never said that all farmland is equal. Oh man, this lady, Millennial Millie, is a piece of work.
Farmland was equal. I admit that many farmland is not equal, and some grains you can produce on some farmland and some you can't on others. But like I said before, the shift to veganism is going to be gradual. So these little bumps in the road that we're discussing can be solved over a long period of time and sustainable. Yes, they're always going to.
I think what Millie's thinking is that veganism is really difficult, and she talked about having a balanced vegan diet. It's necessary to. So she probably thinks she only could eat like a certain amount of foods, no matter where you live. You have to have X, Y, Z, and A, B, and C, no matter where you live. But no, you can have D, E, F, H, J, K if you live in a region. You know what I'm saying? There's different foods that are perfectly fine and perfectly healthy. There's so many plants. That's what meat eaters don't get. There's like, how many farm animals that are raised for meat? Practically like 3 to 5 or something like that. Yet there's thousands of plants that can be grown and are grown for eating,
Sustainability issue.
which works across different climates, different types of farms, because not all farms are equal. We agree with that.
In the way that we live, we can never eradicate the sustainability issues that we have.
You know, research and studies have shown that actually the most sustainable and healthy for the environment.
Uh-oh, I can't imagine where she's going. What's the most healthy and sustainable for the environment? Eating a bunch of meat? Is that what she's going to say?
And healthy for even humans.
And humans, let's see. Well, which diet has, what kind of food has the least impact on the planet as far as environment, as far as inputs? Raising plants, rather than raising plants and giving those plants to animals. And healthy for humans? I mean, 14 of the 15 top leading causes of death can be prevented, reversed by eating a plant-based diet. You can't really do that on a meat diet. So let's see where she goes with this.
Diet is actually an omnivore diet where you do
Okay, an omnivore where you do what?
vegetables, plants, and you also do have meats. Now,
Okay, now where's her fact on that? Where she said it's been shown, like whom? Like, what? Did the meat industry show this in a study, or did her boss say that, or some guy online said that? Like, it's so vague.
we can both agree that most Americans do eat too much meat, but we have
Okay.
our ancestors ate meat. They found
The ancestors argument. I love that one. Our ancestors ate meat, so therefore we need to eat meat. I mean, our ancestors, pooped while squatting down over a hole or leaves. Does she do that too? No, it just picks and chooses. Our ancestors ate meat. Oh, okay, yeah, that means we have to eat meat. And in fact, our ancestors at one point too were pretty much, fruitarian. Does that mean we should be fruitarian too? If you go back before Homo erectus to Australopithecus, and prior to that, yeah, they're eating fruit, they're eating bark. Does that mean we should eat fruit and bark too? So again, it's being very selective by when she says our ancestors. And if you want to be really broad-minded, you go back prior to when we broke off the primate tree. No offense to people who don't believe in evolution. You go back 40 million years. Why is she being so selective to like thinking of some ancestors from maybe 50,000 years ago who were living in Europe?
in their teeth. They found it in their surroundings. They have cave drawings of us hunting meat. They have the tools that we use for hunting.
Okay, yes, we're going back to Paleolithic Europe. Yeah, during a much colder time as well, a mini ice age.
So our ancestors have always eaten meat.
No, they haven't always eaten meat. No, they did in certain periods of time, in certain regions of the world. They haven't always eaten meat. I mean, how silly is that? I mean...
If you want to argue through science and say we evolved from monkeys, well, monkeys are omnivores, they eat meat. And as far as the idea that, okay...
We didn't evolve from monkeys, if she's trying to go down the evolutionary argument. We came from creatures who are eating primarily fruit. In fact, our closest relatives, chimpanzees and bonobos, don't really eat meat. Bonobos not really. Chimpanzees only, not for eating, but when they get in, they're really violent and aggressive. They take on, they're pretty gnarly creatures, and they'll fight each other, kill each other, and eat other chimpanzees in. But they don't go out hunting like looking for rodents or whatever she fantasizes that monkeys are eating.
You can't use a tool to be considered an omnivore. That's not necessarily true because there are tons of animals out there that use tools to hunt and tools to obtain prey.
And here's another fallacy she's putting out here. She's talking about animals eat other animals. Like, no, most animals aren't carnivorous. I mean, look like the mighty, like, rhinoceros or giraffe, elephant. These are plant eaters. Gorillas, these are plant eaters. It's weird how people have this weird fantasy in their minds. People that know nothing about zoology all think, yeah, animals are out there in the wild hunting and eating other animals. No, a lot of animals are just foraging, like her sacred, beautiful cows. They're just ruminating on grass. So no, not animals are all eating other animals.
Advantages.
That's fine.
So
the thing is, right, like, just because our ancestors did something, why does that provide moral justification for what we do today? Our ancestors used
Exactly. If our ancestors threw virgins into a volcano, does that mean we should too?
to murder each other. They were very violent. So are we allowed to kill each other and be violent towards each other because our ancestors did? I mean, our morality's changed.
Yeah, our ancestors engaged in warfare. Does that mean I should go out and just shoot a bunch of people? No.
As a species, we've evolved so much. We live in homes, we have cars, we fly in planes. Our ancestors never did that. So if you want to be purist in your logic like that, you should be living in a cave and squatting in the bushes to go to the toilet, right? But the fact is we don't do those things anymore because we've changed.
Yes, Ed, thank you. That's what I'm saying too. People that put out that argument. Yeah, 1 second here. Sorry, my thing kind of froze here. Okay, everything's cool. Yeah, that's what I was saying. People are being very selective. They have this fantasy of how our ancestors lived and very selective about what they want to emulate. In fact, the only thing they really seem to want to emulate is, our ancestors ate meat, but they're not pooping in holes, they're not wearing loincloths, or, they're using computers, they're flying on airplanes, but that's cool, but, our ancestors ate meat, though.
As a species. Now, it's irrelevant. Say we're biological omnivores, right? Irrelevant. Just because we can do something doesn't mean that we should.
Yeah, exactly. And here's a really crude argument. Just because you have the physical ability to do something doesn't mean you should do something. Like, for instance, I don't want to poison your minds or anything, but you could crap on a person's head, right? You could do that, but does it mean you should? Of course not.
Evolved again so far.
But isn't it healthiest for us to do something that we've been doing for so long and that is in our...
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, chimps hurl their own poop at people or other creatures. Does that mean we should hurl poop at other people or other creatures? Of course not. Just because, our ancestors did it.
History of our ancestors, and it scientifically, if we're omnivores, we are opportunists. We're supposed to eat what we can get a hold of, and to have a
hold of. She drives her car, probably made overseas, to a supermarket. I mean, how omnivore, survival of the fittest is that? You drive into a supermarket and paying cash or credit card, whatever, for food. There's no survival. There's no omnivore. She's trying to, again, have this fantasy of what people are like, how are this survival of the fittest creature out in the wild,
a diet that varies in different things, where we can get nutrients and fats and things from different sources.
So our
you can get nutrients and fats from plants.
Is thrive on a plant-based diet. You're right, we're opportunistic in the sense that we eat what we have to survive. And
exactly, that works for plants too. If they're not growing corn in your region, maybe you'll eat some other thing. You'll eat more rice or something like that. Or you'll go to the store and buy corn that's imported from another state. Yeah, we're opportunists as plant eaters. We have to adapt.
To survive back in the ice ages when those times of food scarcity was animals, of course, but we don't live in those times of food scarcity anymore, so we don't need to be opportunistic omnivores.
Because we have globalism and we have shipping.
No, you just go down to your local freaking farmer's market. That involves no globalism. Shipping, I guess you can count the 50-mile drive from the farm to the market, but no, it doesn't involve globalism or shipping. I mean, again, say you ship avocados from California to Cleveland. That's not globalism.
But let me ask you this.
And she's only eating local meat too? I really, really doubt it.
Can farm crops like we do animals.
But let me ask you this.
Please.
Could you...
Actually, too, and remember, meat eaters don't eat just meat. They eat plants, too. So am I really to believe she's really hardcore and goes to her local farmers markets year-round and buys only local plants? But she expects vegans to eat only local plants. Such a hypocrite.
If you had however many acreage of land for yourself, right, without any animals,
right,
no animal fertilizer, no nothing, right?
Yeah.
Could you plant and grow outside crops,
right,
and sustain yourself throughout the cycles of the year, only growing native or localized seasonable crops, meaning
Hypocrite. Like, again, she eats plants. Is she eating only local crops? Only local food ever? She should call herself 100% local eating millennial Millie, because that's all she does.
no bananas, no mangoes, none of that stuff. That's not naturally grown here in Ohio. You'd have to be living off of whatever's natural and can be grown in this environment, and you'd have to only have...
How come vegans only, how come she can enjoy the benefits of shipping things, but a vegan, according to her, has to eat only things locally? So now we can't even ship things from California to Cleveland. She's saying now you only can eat stuff that's grown in a little tiny radius. Like, she already does that. Baloney. She is a hypocrite.
Seasonal window that we have here. If you actually were to sit there and examine that aspect here, you would realize that there's a reason why we ate meat, because we had winters. We didn't have refrigerators very much so. We couldn't, canning and storing was...
Again, she's going to our ancestors, the past. We don't have to do that anymore.
As simple and easy as it is today.
But the thing is, you said it's not as simple as it is today, right? Yeah. So it is simple today. We can live off different things. And to answer your question, I honestly don't know if I'd be able to do that. I know that a vegan diet on average...
Okay, why? Yeah, he's saying, I don't know if I'd be able to grow all the plants. Well, Ed... You're not a farmer, bro. You don't need to do that. That's why we have farmers. You keep doing your thing. Your wheelhouse is vegan activism. Growing food, I've tried it before. I grow just a little bit. Why? Just a little bit because it takes a lot of work. I want to still be able to make YouTube videos. I still want to do my type of activism. If I were just making my own food, that would be my entire life. I'd probably have no time to make videos, really. So no. Vegans don't have to grow their own food, just like Millennial Millie. When she eats her plants, I'm sure she's not growing those plants herself either.
Requires a 16th the amount of land as an omnivorous diet does. But again, the issues you raise, I couldn't tell you what seasonal fruit and veg and if I could do it all year round, but I don't have to worry about that because we can sustainably live by getting foods from different parts of the country and from different states. So we can get avocados from California and take them to Cleveland, and that's fine, and we can do that sustainably as well.
So basically you admit that the entire premise of veganism is based on having globalization.
Apparently, Millie has no idea. She must have flunked her elementary school geography classes. Globalism. Ed did not admit to globalism. He said we can get California avocados in Cleveland. And last time I checked, Ohio and Cleveland are both in the same country known as the United States.
Globalism, essentially.
I mean, I know what Infowars is like, and the topic of globalization is a scary word for you guys, and I appreciate that. But the issue of veganism is something that we would like to spread across the world just because it's a more compassionate and ethical way to live. And really, what would be the problem in doing that? Like I asked you before, what justification can we use to kill them if it's unnecessary?
I wish I was there. Ed is doing a wonderful job. He's remaining very calm, and despite him having to repeat things over and over again and her not listening, he's doing wonderful. But I think he would have benefited here from asking her, so do you buy all of your produce locally? Because I know, Millie, you're not eating just meat. And by the way, is your meat all local? And when you eat the non-meat stuff, the plants, are you buying all your stuff locally? Don't preach to me if you can't even do it yourself.
How do we morally justify?
Well, okay, let's talk about, because you keep bringing up morals and ethics, okay? You do. But first...
Uh-oh, she's going in a trap. This is Ed's wheelhouse.
I want to ask you right now, do you believe that humans are animals, or do you believe that we are sentient beings from God?
We're animals. I mean, even if you believe in the Bible, we're still animals.
Okay. So you believe that we're animals and they're animals, and there's virtually no difference between them and us?
I do believe that there's many differences between us and animals, but I think
there's no difference. I mean, there's differences between even animals in the same species.
What makes us alike is what's most important. The fact that we are alive, the fact that we are conscious, and the fact that we can feel pain. That's what unites us, right?
Okay, because what's curious is, I know that you're saying morals, right? Yeah. Morals and ethics. It's wrong to kill. It's wrong to kill a living other being. And I know that some of you may try to say that, oh, well, this is just naturally learned, but we've seen in other societies that no, not necessarily. That men have been killing men for a very long time. Men have been killing animals for a very long time. So where did we get these ethics and morals from? And what I will say is this: the majority of our ethics and morals that we have, at least in this country, right, and our Western civilization, is based on Judeo-Christian morals and principles.
Right.
So,
I'm going to have to disagree with her there, because you guys have seen my videos before. You guys know I have a different religious belief than Millie does. And obviously I have my own morality, and I didn't get it from the source that she claims. And there's people all over the world who don't follow her particular religious path, and they have morals too. So that is just, this is wrong to say, oh, my religion is the moral one. That's where all laws and morality come from. I'm a very moral person.
If you're adhering and you're trying to use Christian morals and principles when you're talking about whether it's wrong or right to kill, but then also saying that you don't believe that we are from God and that we have certain consciousness abilities, how can you argue two separate points simultaneously that conflict with each other?
I've studied ethics and morality in college. You guys know I was a philosophy major, and in the early days of philosophy, or in the Renaissance era, a lot of it was based on Christianity. But for the past several hundred years, if you read any moral philosophy, it has nothing to do with religion. So her whole argument there that religion and morality are one and the same, all morality and ethics come from religion, that's just totally false. She's just, again, making up this fantasy in her head.
Question. I believe that obviously morality in many senses is subjective in its purest form, although as humans we do have moral agency, and that's what kind of separates us from wild animals, although wild animals do demonstrate moral agency as well. Now let's put the issue of morality aside and let's look at social contracts, right? And we have a social contract with each other now not to harm each other. In fact, everyone in America for the most part has a social contract, which means that we adhere to not harming each other.
It's not necessarily a social contract. I would say it's legal. It has to do with our judicial system, which
actually, she has no idea what social contract is. That comes from philosophy. Was it Hobbes that put that out? It's been a long time since I was in grad school last. But anyway, let's go on. That has nothing to do with the legal system.
It's back to Christian Judeo principles. Right. Thou shalt not kill, that comes from Christian principles. Right. And the reason we have it in Western society is because we adopted that because we actually were founded by Christian people. That's what we were founded.
That's really not... I mean, you have countries that are primarily Buddhist, and they don't allow murder as well, and they don't have that law because, she's saying the only reason that law exists is that it comes from Christian principles. I can't think of any nation, Christian or non-Christian nation, that permits murder. It's just wrong. You don't need any thing beyond. It's just wrong.
Bye.
The legal system always changes, right? Which means that morality is always changing along with the legal system. And, people used to justify slavery using Christianity in the Bible, but of course we moved past that many years ago, thankfully, and realized that slavery is wrong, even though people use the Bible to justify something. So I think turning to religion or to a God to try and define how we should live is very dangerous because people use the religion and God in very, manipulative and deceptive ways.
Well, people can try to use morals and ethics in very manipulative ways as well.
Agreed. But what's manipulative about saying let's not harm others if we don't have to?
Because if you had a situation...
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great principle, Ed. Why harm others, being people or animals, if you don't have to? I mean, that's just a great moral principle. It doesn't depend on any religion. It's just pure moral principle. Why harm others if you don't have to? And you don't have to harm animals in order to live. You don't have to harm animals in order to be healthy. So you don't have to. That's the whole point of veganism. That's the morality there. Let's see how she responds. I'm sure it just went right over her head.
Or you had to feed your family.
Right.
I guarantee you're going to choose to kill that animal and feed your children, would you not?
What kind of scenario is that? I mean, that's just a crazy thought experiment she's making up. I mean, why? Maybe you could be stranded in a forest with a lot of food from trees and shrubs you could eat. Why does it have to be an animal? Do you think if you're stranded somewhere you'd be able to capture an animal? Animals are quick.
But you're taking a survival situation, a time of necessity, and I've not at one point argued it's immoral to kill an animal in necessity. Every time I've answered your question, it's saying it's wrong to kill an animal when it's unnecessary.
But that's why humans have been doing it for so long. It's because we've been doing it out of necessity, and it's...
it's not necessary anymore. And she keeps missing that point. All you have to do is drive to or walk to a farmer's market, a supermarket, and buy food that is not from dead animals.
We needed to do to survive. We did it for health reasons. We did it to sustain ourselves, and to try and not acknowledge that would just be improper. And your whole argument that we can live on veganism is based on this new idea that we can have globalized agricultural systems, and it's really a huge feat and a big project.
He never admitted to that veganism needs globalized agricultural systems. How many times does he have to say that? And again, he could probably say it 1 billion times and it would make no dent on this person, Millie.
It wouldn't be actually realistic or sustainable for many regions of the world.
But I would like to say I totally acknowledge what you're saying. I agree with you. Yeah, it was a necessity, but the argument today and why veganism is rising today is because it's not a necessity any longer. So you're absolutely right. And
she doesn't acknowledge that yeah, maybe it was necessary during the last ice age. It's not necessary anymore. What's your answer now, Millie? They didn't have Whole Foods 20,000 years ago, but you can drive to Whole Foods now.
Not being improper, because I agree with you, right, on that point. So, and the issues that you raise, again, it comes back to this idea of it's going to be a gradual shift to veganism. And look, there's going to be bumps in the road. I'm not saying it's going to be a smooth transition and going vegan is going to answer all the world's problems. I'm going to admit that to you. Yeah. But being vegan is doing what's possible and practicable, right? And that's why I use the word necessity.
I think veganism is a developed world luxury.
Oh no, here she goes. A developed world luxury. It's so luxurious to eat rice and potatoes and bananas and legumes and a few fruits. Oh yeah, it's such a luxury. I mean, I'm being facetious because those are some of the cheapest foods you can find.
You guys have the developed world luxury to live as vegans, but let's...
Really, no. In fact, she has it full on opposite. A lot of people in the poorest countries in the world are forced to eat a very, very highly plant-based diet. They only eat meat on like rare occasions. So she has it wrong. If you're only living off like $1 or $2 a day, what else can you buy other than like rice?
Say this, people who are living in certain areas in Africa, you have tribes there that seriously live off of their cattle. They have cattle, and they have very respectful, loving relationships with their cattle. They milk them, they raise them, everything. They also use them and eat them for meat, and they're sacred to them. And in their areas, they do not have arable farmland. They could not live off of agricultural stuff. So them being able to exist and live would solely be based upon your globalist idea of farming all of the arable land, which would be most of Ohio, would be turned into farms. Okay,
if these people she's talking about in Africa that herd cattle around, if they're the last ones to become vegan on the world, if 99% of the world has become vegan and we have a few pockets like that, cool, we'll deal with that then.
And then you'd have to ship it using tons of gasoline, which we can all talk about the environmental impact that would...
Oh, come on. Don't talk about the environmental impact of shipping things using tons of gasoline. That very microphone you're holding right now, Millie, was shipped using tons of gasoline.
Probably have to constantly shipping people food into other countries where they don't have arable land. And then the impact of what's that going to have to them as a community to all of a sudden switch from a heavily meat animal-based diet to then flip-flop to a vegan diet. Is that going to have an impact on their culture and on their society? Right. So is it sustainable? I would say no, but I would say that it's a luxury that we have in this more developed world.
I would argue that point and say if you look at the poorest places in the world, and you look at the places where people live in extreme poverty, the majority of what they eat is grains and plants because it's the cheapest food to produce. Now, of course, there's going to be areas in the world where people have cattle and they take the milk because they need it to survive. It comes down to the idea of necessity.
A lot of the places in the world, the tribal people live off goats or...
I mean, when you add up the population of the Earth, how many people are still living in a nomadic tribal situation like that? Like, again, I said, if we get 99% of the non-tribal world to be vegan, plant-based, awesome. We can figure out how to deal with her tiny, 1% situation here.
Sheep or cows.
And I'm not disputing that point, but the poorest country in the world, what they survive off mainly is a plant-based diet. Places in Africa, like Nigeria and stuff like that, example, they have some of the lowest rates of heart disease globally. And interestingly, they have the highest rates of plant consumption because they can't afford to have animals, they can't afford to look after animals, and they can't afford to buy animal products. So actually, the luxury is animal products because they're the most expensive food that we can buy. And the only reason they're so cheap in this country is because of the massive amount of tax subsidies. If you actually looked at the proper price that these products should be, no one, apart from the richest upper echelons of society, would be able to afford them. If you want to talk about privilege, then it's privilege to be able to afford animal products, whereas the cheapest foods you can buy on this planet, the beans, grains, legumes, the seasonal vegetables and fruits, are the absolute cheapest foods that we can buy.
Well, if you want to talk.
Great points, Ed. Good job. But unfortunately, I haven't seen this part of the interview yet. I'm sure you made absolutely no impact on her as far as her listening and having a response to you, other than throwing another dumb talking point out.
Well, okay, so the whole agricultural push to Africa is a newer thing. Yeah. They have not been able to do agriculture, and they've been living off their animals and in their environment.
She's full of, even these people she's saying that are living off their animals, they're not eating just animals. They're not eating only animals. They're eating plants too. So they must be able to grow them somewhere.
And growing what they can naturally. To say that they've had big agriculture there for a long time is not necessarily true.
I just said they're growing what they can grow locally and what they can grow with the skills that they have. I've never said they have big agriculture. They just grow what they can afford to grow in that area.
But it's not, we can agree though, would we agree that a grain-based diet is not the healthiest diet for human?
I mean, what do you mean by grain-based diet? Like a starch-based diet? Again, look at what people are eating in Vietnam, which has one of the highest per capita rice eatings in the world, and they have one of the lowest rates of global adult diabetes. Their lowest rates of obesity. And they're healthy. And again, look at the Okinawans of southern Japan, the traditional diet where they're eating, the primary source of carbohydrates are sweet potatoes and rice. Again, they're known the blue zone. They live typically like 100 years old. So Millie, where did you get this idea? Are you listening to some of that low carb, bro science?
It's better than animal-based diets. Because animal products cause our leading diseases and illnesses: heart disease, colon cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, hypertension, strokes. These are caused.
But do they? I don't.
Oh, they do.
You don't.
Okay, remember how Millie said half an hour ago she did all this research in the vegan diet? Well, apparently she says, do they? No, this is a known fact. This is not up for debate here, Millie. And can you name any diseases? Ed just listed off a whole boatload there of diseases that come from eating animal products. Can she even name one disease that comes from eating rice? I would love to hear what that's what I'd say back to her if I were there. But Ed's doing a wonderful job.
What are you citing in that? Because here's the reality is our ancestors had been consuming heavy meat and fat and bone marrow based diets when they were hunting.
Who are these ancestors? How does she know they're eating heavy meat and bone marrow based diets? In fact, I've been reading archaeology saying that like when hunters go out, they're only successful roughly like 3% of the time. So guess who's collecting most? I'm talking about ancient hunters. I'm not talking about modern ones. I'm talking like early Homo sapien, Homo erectus. It's the gatherers, the females that are gathering plants that are bringing in the bulk of the calories.
A very long time ago, it's evidenced, and their bones were more dense. They had stronger jaws. They were bigger. They were taller. As soon as
Where is she getting this from? Really? So you're telling me like Homo erectus is bigger and taller than me?
humans, if you look at it historically, as soon as humans switched to agriculture, their bones became more brittle and they dropped about 6 inches in height, and our jaws became smaller. And
what is she talking about here? Am I missing something? Do you guys know what she's talking about? Is there something I can read about this? How humans like shrunk like half a foot in size like 10-20,000 years ago or something like that? Where is she getting, or what? Notice how she's not even giving a time frame. Like what humans, what point in history? Because if she gives me like 10,000 years ago, 20,000, 100,000 years ago, I'll go check that out.
And less strong. We have to have braces now because we have crooked teeth because our jaws are smaller. We have to have our wisdom teeth removed. Right. So, are we really healthier eating?
Okay, well, let's say all that's true. Let's just give her that. I mean, that has nothing to do with veganism. People have been getting braces and wisdom teeth removed for a long time, far before veganism ever got popular. So again, don't blame that on veganism. How is she going to correct this? How are we going to get stronger jaws or bigger bones by eating the all meat diet or something like that?
non-meat diets.
I would argue the reason that happened is because we increased our consumption of animal products to such an extent. Now, animal products leach calcium from our bones because of the excess protein. So I would actually argue that all these things that you just described is due to, as you say, the mass commercialization of agriculture, which was massively animal agriculture. So all these elements that we have now, all these problems we have, the inflammation or the arthritis, all these problems can be linked heavily to the fact
Are you sure that the studies are just wrongly not citing the fact that the reason the American diet is so unhealthy is because of our high consumption of sugar?
And again, I hate it when people use the word sugar because they don't know what they're talking about. They try to equate like table sugar with eating an apple.
We consume so much sugar and carbohydrates, including the grains, the corns.
Oh, there you go. That's the same. Sugar, including corns and grains. So yeah, have table sugar. It's the same as eating a potato.
We know that the corn makes the animals fat.
Nope, that's not true. I eat plenty of corn here in California.
Why they give it to the animals. So us...
No, they don't. That's what they say. They give the potatoes to the hogs to fatten them up. Again, no. Potatoes are slimming. They're high in carbohydrate, low in fat, low... And the same with corn. These are not fattening foods. You think when I go outside and see all these large people outside, it's because they ate too much corn and too much potatoes? Give me a break, Millie.
Eating the corn and the grains is going to make us fat and unhealthy.
Okay, what makes us...
Millie, I ate tons of grains. I ate tons of rice. I ate tons of corn. I ate tons of potatoes. More than she does. More than probably anyone she knows does. I'm not overweight. Far from it.
Is fat, and what's found in animal products is saturated fat and trans fat.
I wouldn't say that's true. There's
I wouldn't say that's true. Like it's either true or not. I don't say I wouldn't say. It's either true or not.
conflicting studies.
Carbohydrates can metabolize.
Yeah, of course there's conflicting studies. Ones that are funded by the egg industries. Ones funded by the meat and dairy industries. Yeah, they produce some conflict by constructing poor research design. Intentionally to create confusion, as I've shown Dr. Greger's videos have exposed us. Doubt is their product, just like the cigarette industry in the 70s. They're not trying to, neither of those industries need to prove that cigarettes or animal products are healthy. They just need to create some doubt. So people, I don't know what to do. I might as well just keep on keeping on.
Fat in our bodies when we don't use them and burn them up like we should. But what clings to our body is the fat, and animal products are full of saturated fat, trans fat, and cholesterol, which are the three things that clog our arteries and cause atherosclerosis and heart disease and all these problems that are actually our number one killers of people here.
Is she going to disagree with that? Is she going to say eating potatoes and rice clog up your veins?
In the US, so...
Well, we can... Okay, there's good fats and bad fats, okay? And we can sit here and argue all day about diet. Yeah, we can. And really, there are so many different conflicting studies out there on either side, and I would...
From the animal industries.
Say that for a lot of people, I would say veganism, if it's something you want to do and try, go for it. I know that there are people who have gotten benefits from it because you are consuming mineral vitamin rich stuff when you're doing the plant stuff as well. But
the plant stuff as well, that's what vegan is. You're eating plants.
But what I will say is this, it's not sustainable for long term for the entire global population.
How many times does Ed have to tell you it is sustainable? We're already using all the land we need. In fact, we need to use less land, less water, less everything to grow food just for people, as opposed to growing food for humans, all the humans on the planet, and all the animals that are raised to be killed for human consumption. That's kind of the place I'm standing at right now, and your place you're standing at is one out of ignorance and misinformation, and not being able to listen to a nice man spend all his time with you and give you true information and not have your opinion be changed the slightest bit. Talk about ideology. You said veganism is an ideology and cult. Well, you're exhibiting that behavior yourself because you're unable to change your opinion when presented with clear facts.
Still haven't heard anything that proves otherwise.
And I'd just like to say thank you.
That proves otherwise. No, you're just unable to change your opinion because you're ignorant.
The conversation, I agree with many things that we said, but I disagree wholeheartedly with a lot of them. Yes. I believe that it is sustainable, and I would like to say I don't think you've said anything that would reverse my opinion on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so...
Yeah.
Based on what you guys were centered to your discussion, what does that have to do with this particular farm? Like, why not a big industrial farm that's...
Okay, yeah, so why is this farm being targeted and not some big industrial factory farm?
So we were at Case Farm Slaughterhouse earlier this morning. This is our second place of the day. And that place is a mass industrialized slaughterhouse where they bring factory farm chickens.
Totally destroyed her criticism there.
So this is just another side of the spectrum. But the bottom line for us is the slaughter, right? And these animals are all going to be slaughtered. So for us, morally, there isn't much difference between a factory farmed animal and, say, a locally organic family raised animal, in the sense they're all going to be killed anyway. And that bottom line is they'll die, and it's wrong because it's unnecessary.
That's what people don't realize. Like, you just don't slaughter animals on your own little private farm. Unless there's really some special circumstances. Factory farm animals are slaughtered alongside with small farm raised animals. They meet the same horrific fate.
Sorry, that's how I'd answer that question.
Okay, so then here, let me ask you your stance then on human abortion, because a lot of vegans tend to be a little bit more liberal, and they tend to be pro-abortion. So.
Again, she's totally generalizing. I mean, I know plenty of conservative and Republican and libertarian vegans. Veganism is not a political ideology. If you look at the definition of veganism, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with not wanting to cause harm to other living sentient beings.
Many Christians, ethically, morally, would say...
I know what she's trying to do here. She's trying to make him sound like a hypocrite, but she's the one that's going to act like a hypocrite. She finds life so precious. Why is she so blasé about killing animals?
That's wrong, to kill a human being, whether it's capable of sustaining itself alone outside the womb at that time in its gestation or not. But what's your standpoint on that?
So I've been raised in the UK, and abortion isn't an issue in the UK because it's been legalised, I think, longer since I've been born. So for me, I don't see abortion as being an issue up to a certain point, because, when a human baby is just a collection of cells, they're not a human baby in that sense. So I would say the life of the woman who has her own rights and there's autonomy over her own body.
What point would you say that it's not a human cell, though?
And I don't know. That's the question, right? I don't know that.
Because currently we have up to 24 weeks, which is 6 months gestation. It only gives 3 months left.
Yeah.
So would you say that that's immoral to kill a 20-week-old baby in the womb?
I don't know about the laws here, but I've heard that the laws that are often cited by the right wing are laws that are taken into place when the woman is in danger and her life is in danger. So I don't know. I can't comment on that, but that's what I do know is a lot of the people, especially from Infowars...
If the woman is not in danger, if there's no risk to the woman's health, because they can still get abortions up to 24 weeks, whether or not you're in danger or anything. It's right now the woman can go choose to have the baby killed. So you mentioned a lot morals and ethics and talking about killing a life, and your main issue here is that they're going to be killing these cows for meat. So how then can you justify killing a human in the womb?
Well, I would justify up to the point where the human baby is no longer becomes conscious or sentient, because then it's about that version of life that the human baby has. And I think the issue is, we have overpopulation, which is a huge issue that's going to affect us all. So, when we look at abortion, if we're going to let every baby that's born to this planet be born, then we're going to have huge issues with population continue to rise. A lot of the time, these people that are against abortions, the right wing, the evangelical Christians, they're totally against people having abortions, but as soon as that baby's born, they don't want to provide welfare or benefits or anything to look after the
So
baby.
you said when the baby becomes conscious or sentient, then it would be wrong.
Right.
Would you say that these animals have the same consciousness and capability of consciousness that we do?
No, I wouldn't say that, but pigs, for instance, are as clever or have been proven to have the same cognitive abilities as a 3-year-old child, so they're more intelligent than a baby up to the age.
She shouldn't have asked Ed that question. This is going to show her hypocritical view here.
Free, by scientific studies. So if you're going to go by intelligence and cognitive abilities, then a pig's life should be worth more than a newborn baby's life.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I would say I definitely disagree with you on that one.
She walked right into that one.
That's right. That's science, so you can argue with science, but that's
agree.
Okay. That's what.
Definitely disagree with that, because if you look at the rate at which
she disagrees that a mature pig is like more intelligent than a newborn baby.
In animal ages, the 3-year-old pig is nowhere near the rate at which a 3-year-old child ages. We live a lot longer, so you cannot compare the two. A 3-year-old pig can breed. A 3-year-old child cannot.
Yeah, but
Still, it doesn't say anything about comparing the intelligence of the two, and the pig is more intelligent at 3 than a newborn baby is.
Basing our worth of life based on cognitive abilities and intelligence, and I'm saying if that's what you want to do.
That's what you were doing by saying that you wanted to think it's okay to abort babies in the womb if they don't have a consciousness or cognitive ability yet.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like we've gone off tangent here on the abortion one, because
yeah, totally gone off tangent. She's trying to make this a political issue, and it's not. And again, she's politicizing it by saying vegans are liberals, and when that's just completely not true. Just trying to make this a political issue because she can't win on the moral issue. So she's just grasping at straws here. Let's just try to make it a morality issue because Ed's killing me on the moral issues. Let's try to get into politics and religion here.
Like I said, like as long as
Because it's somewhat hypocritical, wouldn't you say?
I don't think it's.
No, she's the hypocrite. I mean, if she finds all life so sacred, that it would follow that an animal's life shouldn't be killed either.
I'd also throw that back on you. So you say I'm a hypocrite for that. I'd say you're a hypocrite if you're against abortion but you consume animals, because you're against abortion because you say it's not right to take a life, but then you take lives every day. So we're both hypocrites in that sense.
Because I would say, well, I will say this: my morals and ethics come from my Christian belief system, and what I will say is that. I do believe it's wrong to kill another human being, and if I'm going to adhere and reference Christian belief systems, I will say that it says so in our Bible that we should not kill other humans and man, but it also does say that God says eat meat sparingly. So he doesn't...
I don't know. Again, I don't profess to be an expert in Christian theology, but I know about Genesis 1:29 and 1:30, and there's some pretty clear wording there that all the plants are there for us. So let me just continue on here.
You don't eat meat, don't kill animals. It says he put them here for us to have and use.
Right.
So,
do you think that a benevolent and compassionate God would be happy with us killing his animals if we didn't have to?
well, I think that
That's a great question, huh? Because you know, God as the creator created not only us, he created all the animals. Those are part of God's creation too. And would he be pleased to see the needless slaughter of 70 billion of his creations, of the animals every year? Good question.
actually, if you want to get into the God in the Bible, Cain and Abel, Cain killed Abel because God didn't like that Cain brought him vegetables and fruits, and Abel brought him meats as a sacrifice. Right. So actually, God wanted him to make the sacrifice and kill the animal for him. Right. So,
but we don't.
Is that right, guys? I don't. It's been a long time since I read that bit of Genesis. Is that what happened there? Is she have that right? You guys tell me. One brother offered plants and the other one offered meat, and God said no, the plant guy is bad, he needs to go down. Is that what happened? Not to say that affects in his argument. I just want to know if she even has that right. Yeah, that's what it says. Green smoothie party. Like, what? God doesn't like veggies? I mean, that's why I'm just kind of like what? Does it really say that? Let's see. That's completely wrong, Made Man. Okay, thank you. She's making that up? Okay. I'm going to go read that later because I want to see if God said, oh, you brought me the veggies, I'm going to have you killed. Oh, you brought me the meat, you're my bro. I'm going to see if that really is in there or not. God said he was the evil brother, but did it have anything to do with the offering of plants? Was he cool before he gave him the plants? As soon as he offered the plants, oh no, you're evil now? I don't... Okay, none of you guys are seeing that connection or can back up what she's saying here. Please make her go away. Let's see, we're almost done here, I think. Yeah, we're almost done. Let's go a little bit further.
But what I'm saying is that's what I'm adhering to. My morals, my principles adhere to Christianity. Right. When you're referencing morals and ethics and principles, if you're just going to say you're solely like an atheist and you believe in science and that we're no different animals wise, if this is an animal kingdom, survival of the fittest.
Do you think that humans are animals?
I don't.
So what are we?
I believe that we're conscious beings here.
Yeah, animals are conscious beings too. Has she ever owned or a pet, touched a dog or cat? They are conscious beings as well, and that applies to her farm animals, which she doesn't seem to give much credit to for being conscious beings.
We were put here from God, and that...
And so are the animals. Did Satan put the animals here? I'm just saying, I mean, they were all created here with us, right?
Essentially...
Not, but you guys know I'm Buddhist. I'm just repeating what I understand the story with the the how it's written down.
We have domain over these creatures. We're to love them. We're to respect them. And I will agree with you this. I don't think that some of these factory farms are right. But what I will say is this behind me doesn't seem to be, a factory farm. It doesn't seem to be torturing or putting these animals in inhumane conditions.
It's still an industry that is profiting off the unjust murder of animals, exploiting animals for profit. So yeah, maybe it looks like a pretty farm with pretty paint and everything like that, but the end result is people are making money by sending their farm animals to the slaughterhouse. So Ed and his crew have every right to be here, as much as they do go into an industrial farm or industrial slaughterhouse.
Now, the houses where you have the chickens and they're like crammed together and they're pecking at each other and their legs are...
Yeah, of course. Every anti-vegan always... I've never met one that said, yeah, I love those horrible conditions in factory farms. Yeah, they all are come out and say that's wrong. Yeah, so what?
All messed up and they're being tortured. I would say that's wrong. I'd say look into that. I would say we should have some reform. I will agree with you on that. And I think many people who even consume meat will agree that we can push for more ethics and humane treatment of animals, and that we should look at more ways to humanely kill animals. It's interesting to notice that I don't see you guys outside, protesting outside of the Humane Society. The Humane Society catches dogs and cats and they put them down to sleep, and they say that that's, but you say that that's humane.
No, I don't believe it.
They believe that it's humane to put the animals down to sleep.
Right.
So I would say that there is a somewhat humane way to kill.
Okay.
We do it in prison systems. When somebody has a death sentence, they have lethal...
Okay, come on. Ed, she's talking to the wrong person here. I didn't see how this interview unfolded, but Ed has gotten himself into slaughterhouses. He has seen firsthand what humane killing is all about, and it's far from humane.
Injection. Yeah. There's a humane way, and then there's a torture and gruesome way.
Right.
So what I will agree with you on is that we should definitely avoid the torture and gruesome and...
Well, pretty much the norm is the torture and gruesome. And even if they were taken out in the most respectful and kind and peaceful and painless way, I mean, the animal's still being killed. I mean, how would you feel like, oh, you just want a contest and we're going to take you out, kill you, but it's going to be the most peaceful and kind way? You're going to wait? No. And that's how an animal would feel too if they were told about what was going to happen to them next.
The mistreatment of animals.
And the way that we kill animals now, is that humane or torturous and gruesome?
It depends. It depends. There are some places...
Just standard throat slitting. Like, we electrify them, or we put a ball in the head, then we throat slit them.
Or there's some that, air pressure...
That's the stun. So the captive bottle pistol stuns them, right? Yeah. And then they hang them upside down, cut the throat, which kills them. Is that humane?
I'd say it's more humane than a lion kills their prey, right? Because if you look at how... If you look at how lions kill their prey,
Again, why bring up lions? Why not talk about a rhinoceros or elephant? Or gorilla, which don't kill prey.
You know what they go for
lions
first?
Are brutal.
Oh, they go for the genitals. They eat the genitals first, and then they eat them from their butthole out. They literally eat their intestines out of them. So if you want to talk about humane, but you have no problem with the lions killing their prey, do you?
Why do lions kill their prey?
Because they eat them.
So because they're obligate carnivores and they have to survive. So again, why are we comparing ourselves to wild animals like we did to our ancestors? Animals, again, they rape and they...
Yeah, again, why not compare ourselves to another animal, like a rhinoceros?
What I'm saying is, because you're saying we're animals, I'm saying out of the animals under your ideology, we kill a lot more humanely than most other animals do.
Most animals aren't killing animals.
About more humane, I asked you, is it humane? So the answer is a yes or no. There isn't a more or a less. Is the way that we kill animals now humane? Yes or no?
I would say that some places probably...
She's just speculating, pull this out of her butt. She has never seen what goes on in a slaughterhouse like Ed has. Most places, like 51% or more, she has no idea what goes on. She's just making crap up.
Don't, but I would say some places definitely do.
Let's just say the standard way that animals are killed, let's say it's done absolutely to the letter of the law perfectly.
I would say quick and in a way that doesn't necessarily stress the animal out too much beforehand. Just quick and to the point.
What does the word humane mean?
In a way that takes into effect concern and care, and you're not trying to torture an animal. I think the Native Americans probably, they had a very...
Okay, I don't know. What do you guys? I've had enough of her. I'm just really starting to not want to hear her voice anymore. It's God, I've been hearing her for an hour and a half now. Oh man. I said she is a piece of work. She's not hearing anything that Ed has said. Nothing. From the morality back, she keeps repeating the globalism, even though we're talking about sending food between California and Ohio. What else? She just gone just totally oblivious to. Oh, the sustainability. She keeps saying it's not sustainable. Just everything. Completely, you got it closed-minded, end of storytelling. Completely. Yeah, I'm losing brain cells too. Oh God, right when I first saw the video I responded to on Monday, I just go, oh my gosh, she was like maybe even the worst of all these anti-vegans I've seen. It's just like next level. So I'm sorry to put you guys through this, but yeah, I found this video on Facebook. This was she used clips from this in her better produced video, but this was taken from a live Facebook stream. So starting up on her channel, I had to find it on their Facebook page, so I downloaded it, and I didn't want to make one of my normal videos on it because it would take a long time because she's going off talking about Ed. So I thought I'd do this here live with you, which I've never done before. So I now know how to do this, how to put stuff up on for you to see. I can show you not only my face, but I could show you other videos and web pages. So that's cool. But it reminds you of a schizophrenic patient you once had. Yeah, this is just really I don't know how Ed was able to stay there for 40 minutes and just go back and forth in circles, and I guess he's used to it. I guess he does this like for a living, right? He goes out and talks to people for a long time, and she just happened to be one with a microphone and camera herself. So so what'd you guys think? You guys were I was reading the comments as much as I could during that. So what'd you guys think about Millie's anti-vegan attack here? She's a robot. She seemed like one because she just kept being hit with truth, and it made no impact. She just kept repeating her talking points. She really didn't have any intention to learn anything, just to go in there and be loud and repeat her talking points. You want to rip her apart? Well, don't do that. I mean, yeah, we'll rip her apart on an intellectual level, but yeah, someone's asking, Kay, are you asking as a joke? Am I a social justice warrior? No, I'm not an SJW. I actually get attacked sometimes by SJWs, so I'm definitely not an SJW. I am vegan, and I like to shine the light of truth on things, or like here with this discussion with Lineal Millie, all her nonsense there. Her arguments were unsustainable. Good point there. Good point, Mia. What's SJW? It stands for Social Justice Warrior. Just Google SJW. I don't even want to go on anymore about that. How did the video end? I think she's got up and left. Right, let me just forward a second here. I promise I'll keep this really short here. Let me just kind of scrub with QuickTime here and see how they ended this all. Okay, she does leave him at a certain point here. Let's see.
And we need to depopulate.
I'm not saying we need to depopulate. I'm just saying that we need to take more conscious decisions in our life, which means like having less children and living more sustainably, which is what a vegan diet can do.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree, and thank you for the debate here, sir.
I really enjoyed
thank
that.
You.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed that, and thanks for being here.
All right, thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. All right. All right, thank you. All right.
Let's get them in the background.
Oh, whoa, careful. Don't get hit by a car. All right, so for those of you guys who are just popping on this feed, we're here.
Okay. All right, so that's it. I think she's just going to go and just kind of end her video, just show the crowd and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yeah, debate. There was not a debate, right, Miss Malibu? She was just lecturing or just repeating her opinion over and over again, even after Ed would make multiple repeated arguments debunking what she said. She was not fazed in the slightest bit. So, yeah, I don't know what you want to call this. Infowars, some kind of infotainment. It was not meant to enlighten Infowars viewers, not meant to enlighten herself. She wasn't there seeking truth or anything of the sort. It's just, why should I keep watching to the end, Holly? Am I missing something? I haven't seen it to the end. If there's something cool at the end, let me know, and I'll let it go. I'll let it play. Yeah, Ed is a saint to deal with people like this day in and day out, and yeah, he handled himself really, really, really well. Bro Rogan's talking about this race lever. Are you serious? Joe Rogan saw this and thought that Millie, who had no substance to anything she said, won this debate. Again, it wasn't a debate. It was not a debate in the slightest sense. There was no goal of arriving at truth, uncovering the truth of the matter. It's just her sticking to her uninformed opinion that veganism is things are just completely disproved so easily. You're joking about the Rogan thing? Yeah, it's unsustainable. We'll have to clear more land out for some reason, even though we have to feed fewer animals. We'll still have to grow more food for some reason to feed the same amount of people. It makes no sense. Yeah, I gotta see that Joe Rogan, Kevin Smith interview. Yeah, I'll check that out. I've been pretty busy this week, but I'll check that out. Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't give the plants have feelings argument, huh? She did go through like a hit parade, our ancestors and rice and potatoes make you fat, and a lot of those. You're glad I'm not an SJW? Cool. No, I definitely am not. I don't identify with that in any way. I get attacked by SJWs often. Not sure why. I guess maybe that's part of what they do is like to attack. I don't know. I think I'm pretty pretty chill. I don't think I'm a candidate for SJW attacks. But anyway, the meat peel video at the end. That's why the video is so long. Yeah, I showed a bit of that on my video I did when it came out on Monday, or was it Tuesday? The meat peel thing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to show that again. But yeah, that's what, at the end of all her videos, it's like this minute-long, well-produced video, filmed and made and narrated by her boss at Infowars, selling carnivore pills to help you digest your clogged up digestion and colon because you're eating such a high-protein diet. Hey, Strings. Cool. You like our song Heartstrings? Cool. Oh, actually, yeah, it's going to be on our next album, Lovespirals. Still untitled. In fact, we're putting out more and more content on our Lovespirals social media platform. So if you get a chance right now, just go over and follow Lovespirals Official, both on YouTube and on Instagram. Yeah, we put stuff up there that you're not going to see on Happy Healthy Vegan, stuff of us like jamming in the studio, me playing guitar, pictures of my gear. A lot of people want to know what kind of guitars and stuff I have, so I put up nice pictures of them, tell you all about it. So check out Lovespirals Official, both on Instagram and YouTube. I have a video I'm going to put up on YouTube of Anji and I jamming in the studio the other day, so check it out. Lovespirals Official, Instagram and YouTube. Let's see, Flatlander, you're saying she got her info about me. Oh, Weston A. Price. Yeah, that sounds like Weston A. Price dogma for sure. Yeah, I should have put that together. Yeah, it makes so much sense now. Thanks for sharing that. I don't doubt that one bit. Yeah, Lovespirals Official, Miss Balblue. All one word, I should say, when you look on Instagram and YouTube. Lovespirals Official. Let's see. Yeah, Lovespirals Official, all one word, no spaces or anything like that. Yeah, and so check that out. What else is going on? If you're in the Southern California area this weekend, Saturday to be specific, we're going to an event in downtown Los Angeles. I think it runs from starts at 2 in the afternoon it goes to sometime in the evening. I should know that, maybe 7 or 9. I think it goes into 9 or 10 actually. It has 2 names. A Vegan Playground, and it's put on by Vegan Hard. So just look for Vegan Playground, Vegan Hard, downtown LA. I think it's in Pershing Square, in downtown there. So check that out. We'll be there meeting people. We're not going to talk or speak or anything like that, even though I think they have that sort of stuff going on. There's music. We're not going to perform. We're just going to go and hang out, meet people, eat some food. So come by and say hi if you can make it to that. Again, Vegan Playground in downtown Los Angeles this Saturday in like 2 days. Cool, Made Man. Just send us an Instagram on Lovespirals Official. Cool, I'll go look for that when I get off here. Okay, I miss Malibu. If you're in Malibu, yeah, this is doable. Downtown is a drive from Malibu. I know that's, that could be an issue, even though it goes on most of the day. I know, Race Lever, we have too many vegan events out here. It's crazy. Angie's editing a video of one that we went to yesterday. We'll check that out. We went to a really cool vegan restaurant, like fine dining, like Michelin star type dining. It was really cool. Let's see what else going on here. Let's see. I'll stay on a little bit longer if you guys just want to do a little Q&A, ask me anything. Which kind of I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of transitioning away from Infowars and Millennial Millie and all her nonsense. But I'll take a few questions if you want here before we go. I need to have dinner at some point soon here. It's getting kind of late. 8:56 p.m. California. When will our new album, will it go up on Spotify when it releases? Yeah, our content distributor will make sure it gets into Spotify and iTunes. I'm not sure how long that takes. It's been a while since we put out an album, so I don't know if it'll come out like right when we release it elsewhere, like on our websites and stuff. But yeah, it will definitely be up on those major streaming services for sure. What's for dinner? I have no idea what Angie's making for us tonight. So yeah, I'll find out. Hopefully she's getting something going for us. We will see. I don't want to play guitar right now. It's all kind of... I'm really set up right now to do this thing, like, showing that video and talking right now. It would be kind of weird to get the mic ready for that too. So no mumble rap. No, sorry about that, Care. Are mushrooms vegan? Yes, it's a plant. It's a non-sentient being. Yes. You think Millie's going to be working at Carl's Jr.? She's a horrid journalist. New reading material. Yeah, I got, forgot the title of it. I should know it. I just started reading it a few nights ago. It's Nikola Tesla's autobiography. So I'm checking that out. It's kind of hard to read. I think he probably wrote it in a different language and it's written in a different time. So the style is very non-modern. But yeah, I want to see the inside the thoughts of a genius. So yeah, Nikola Tesla's autobiography. What's the kind of crazy stuff he's thinking, like cool crazy stuff. Let's see, is there vegan pizza? Yeah, there's totally like vegan pizza. I mean, we have a place in Orange County here. I think its name is Vegan Pizza or something like that. And the best pizza I ever had in my life was on Angie's birthday this year when we went to Maui, a place called Flatbread Pizza. Even though the place isn't fully vegan, their vegan pizza is amazing. And Angie and I will just kind of be bummed once in a while, like, I wish we could just go back out there and get that pizza again. So yeah, any food that you missed before, miss having now gone vegan, there's an equivalent that's, if you look around, that's going to be even better than what you remember. There's no, if you liked Ben & Jerry's, there's dairy-free Ben & Jerry's. And there's better ice creams too than that, too, like Nadamu. So everything's been made, even seafood. I went to Natural Products Expo in March, and there's a company, God, what's their name? I forgot. Anyway, they're making like tuna, like, the stuff you put on like tuna sandwiches, that kind of tuna, that shredded tuna, they're making that. They're kind of like the Beyond Meat of fish. So everything is coming on now. You don't have to give up anything. Again, that's not the kind of food we eat. Like Millennial Millie saying it's vegan is this luxury diet for Westerners, and you don't have to eat that stuff to be vegan, to be a healthy vegan. But if you want to, it exists, so it's cool. I mean, yeah, that you have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. You don't have to eat it, but you can if you want, or eat it once in a while, like we do. Have some fun when you go out somewhere. Definitely adrenaline. I can't pronounce your name there. Oh, you're just joking. Okay, I was gonna say definitely fish is not vegan or anything like that. Vegan of the Sea, that'd be a great name. That's not that company's name. You'll see it. You'll hear all about it. They haven't even launched their product yet. It's going to start coming out, I think, in the fall or winter of this year, and then just like a limited launch. So you'll start seeing more of them probably next year. You'll remember, I remember Ryan talking about that vegan fish stuff. Is my social circle mostly vegan or non-vegan? Well, I don't really have a big social circle. I mean, like when I go out and it's typically to some kind of a vegan event. Like I tell you, this weekend we're going to that vegan playground. So yeah, I'll see all our vegan crew there. I don't really hang out with too many people these days, like as far as like music people or stuff like that. Like when I play basketball, I'm not playing with vegans typically or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I answered that question satisfactorily for you, but yeah, that's how it kind of works out for me. Let's see. Oh, I totally swear, Miss Malibu, California. I just try not to do it when I'm like doing public speaking, and I consider this a form of public speaking because you guys are out there watching me, So, yeah, I mean, I taught before, So when you're in front of, minors and kids or whatever you want to call them, students, yeah, you don't want to be up there swearing like a sailor. I did, of course, when you're in college, you need to talk in front of your class and stuff. You don't want to be up there swearing. So I just found it. If I don't need to cuss to make my point, but yeah, I definitely swear. I don't like to make that my brand. Let's say Ryan, he's the guy that cusses all the time in his videos. Let's see. Good night, Susan. Thanks for joining us if you're still here. Yeah, actually, good point, Flatlander. Yeah, you can make like a tuna salad kind of recipe with chickpeas. In fact, in Anji's book here, Keep It Carb Baby. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. We make this. I make it quite often. It's a go-to for me. I'm in dinners. Okay, come on, tuna salad sandwich. Where is it? Well, I think I see it. Here it is. Chickpea tuna salad sandwich recipe. I'll cover some of the recipe here, but yeah, look at this. Let's see. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it doesn't taste exactly like tuna, but we kind of spice it up with the stuff that kind of goes on tuna often. So yeah, check that out. Yeah, so I make that probably once a week, and often I'll make it with all things because we were just watching the video with Ed with corn. I'll boil some in the summertime, like now, some corn on the cob. Make the sandwiches. It's a nice filling meal. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Allie. Thanks. Yeah, hummus. Yeah, vegan is not a luxury. Yeah, there are expensive vegan items, but likewise, there's very expensive meat and dairy items as well too. But yeah, the irony is, yeah, people who are living on a budget can get by and eat really well as vegans because most of the food we buy is, I tell you, really cheap stuff. Legumes, rice, potatoes. My bananas I have in the morning, oatmeal. That stuff doesn't cost a lot of money. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why people think being vegan is expensive. Probably because they don't know what vegan food is. They think vegan is vegan food. Like, I've never had vegan food before. Like, really? You only eat 100% meat? Of course you've had vegan food before. Of course you've had rice or potatoes. Maybe you put some dairy on top of it and screwed it up, but you've had plants before. You've never had a banana? That's vegan. People think it's like some stuff in a box that costs $20 or $15 or something like that, like a tofurkey or, I don't know, stuff like that, That's not... I mean, it is vegan, but that's not necessarily vegan food. You can just eat whole food plants. Yeah, healthy species. That sounds good. Can you make some of that for me right now? It sounds amazing. I'd like to have some. And yeah, people think, vegans eat salad and birdseed all day. I mean, it's good to eat salad. It's good to get your greens, but they're not a great source of calories. You'll end up being hungry. That's why when you see non-vegans like dieting, often you'll see them, I'm just going to have salad, which means they're making the stomach full, but they're not getting a lot of calories out of it. Because I know when I have salad, I know that's not my meal. Unless it's a gigantic salad with a lot of fruit in it, like mangoes and dates and stuff like that. Then it becomes a meal. But yeah, the way people typically have salad, not really a good meal as far as getting full. Good as far as health, getting lots of minerals and other nutrients you're not getting from your other foods. Yeah, greens are good. Try to eat greens every day if you can. Let's see. Hey, Groovy Lisa. Let's see. Yeah, you guys have some good recipe ideas there. Now we're back to talking about the cognitive dissonance of Millennial Millie there. Yeah, I've kind of forgotten about her right now. I've just kind of blocked her out, even though I kind of see her on the bottom of my screen, which I should do something about. Let me move a window over here. Okay, good. Don't want to see her face for a while now. Why can't people eat pasta for? I mean, there's no such thing as pasta. You can get it made of all sorts of stuff. You know, it could be made out of whole wheat or corn or quinoa. Anyone could eat pasta, no matter what kind of intolerance. I've never met a person that had a quinoa intolerance. If you want to get quinoa pasta, I mean, I like just regular wheat or whole wheat pasta just fine myself. In fact, that sounds kind of nice tonight. You know, I like to have pasta with greens or spinach. And when you make your sauce, when you heat up your saucepan of the pasta sauce, put a whole boat ton of spinach in there so you get the greens. Yeah, they reduce down to a much smaller bit, but you know, you're getting all those greens in there. Pastafarian, that's a good one. Race lever like that. Yeah, pasta. Yeah, there was a while where I hardly ever had it, but now Angie and I have gotten back into it again. Maybe we'll have it every few weeks or so. Yeah, spinach and nutritional yeast give it a nice texture. Let's see, you guys are into pasta, I can tell. Cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's another thing. Pasta makes you fat. Like, really, again, it's another high-carb food. It shouldn't do that unless you do something really crazy. And I can't imagine how pasta would make you fat. Oh, yeah, I can see how, if you have, like, you know, fettuccine Alfredo sauce and all that stuff on there, yeah, it can. It's not the pasta. You have to do something crazy to it. But then, you know, vegans, you know, are responsible for everything, you know. All the ills of the world. What else you guys talking about here? Let's see. Cool. I'm glad you guys liked this live stream. This is the first time of me having a video, you know, playing with me talking, you know, simultaneously, the two together. So that was fun. So now I know how to do it. I can pretty much frame anything in this software. If you guys are interested, if you're a YouTuber, want to do live streams, it's called OBS. It's an open source broadcasting software. I think that's where they got the name from. Yeah, meaning it's free. I think it works on Linux, Mac, and Windows, and you can pretty much frame anything. So I framed a QuickTime video. That was that interview, if you want to call it that, debate. Got me. I think I could frame a Skype thing, so I can get a live guest on here too. So there's lots of possibilities of having more kinds of live streams, more than just me talking into the camera, having people on, watching videos and commenting on them. That's how Vegan Gains does it. He's using the same software too. I was talking to Mike the Vegan before we went live today, and he's using the same software as well. Yeah, OBS, it's cool. There's some little workarounds I have to do to make it work great with my computer, but once it's all working, it's cool. Yeah, is it called OBS Studio or just OBS? I'm looking up in my my menu items up there, just called OBS, but it's probably called OBS Studio. There's probably have OBS for short up there, but yeah, check it out. It's free. I mean, if you found other software that does the same thing, you'd be paying a few $100 at least. Sometimes even a bit more than that, like 1,000 or more. But yeah, this is completely free, open source for the win. Have I ever slapped someone? No, I don't believe so. Maybe in jest or something like that. Is Vegan Gains the guy who points guns at the computer? Yeah, but they're like toy guns. Yeah, he likes guns for some reason. I'm not a fan of guns. I fired guns before, so I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not a fan. I don't own any. I don't care to. Having two monitors, that'd be great for this kind of thing. Fortunately, I have a 27-inch monitor here, so I can like resize windows and see everything. But yeah, having two monitors would be really ideal. Let's see. Has Vegan Gains had mental health in the last few years? You're gonna have to ask him that. He's pretty open about his life. So if he's got it, he probably would have talked about it. Yeah, Vegan Gains is cool. I watched. What was the last video I saw of his? He was who was he debunking? I think someone I did. Gosh. I'm waiting for him to do a video on this whole Infowars thing. I'm sure that'd be really interesting. Yeah, there you go, Dios Mio. I have lethal guns in the sense I love shooting 3-point shots in basketball. Yeah, that's my type of shooting the basketball. What seems pretty fragile, Mia? Let's see. I should try doing the shoot dance. What is that? Not sure what that is there you're asking for, okay? Yeah, Vegan Gains will rip poor Millie. Yeah, he'll probably do one because she's so asking for it, right? When I saw her first video, it's like, ugh. I have terrible aim. What are you talking about, Molson? Are you talking about my basketball shot? What are you talking about, bro? You're waiting for basketball talk. We don't have to talk about basketball. That's one of my things. I know most of you guys aren't into that, but I played today. That's one reason. If I seem a little tired, I did my 2 hours at the gym. First hour playing basketball. The second hour lifting. So I'm pretty sore still. So still, I'm still here doing this video. I'm cool. I'm not complaining or anything like that. I probably have a little bit more energy right now. But often when I do these live streams, I'm tired. I often do them after my runs with the running club, which I didn't do yesterday because we went out to a really fine vegan dinner. So we'll look out for the vlog for that one. LeBron James of the Clippers, 0 chance. Write that down. But LeBron James to the Lakers, they actually they have the #1 chance, according to the reports I've read, of acquiring James. If anyone is going to get him, the Lakers have the best chance, followed by Houston Rockets. Favorite basketball team? I like all the California teams a lot. I like, the Lakers, Clippers, and the Golden State Warriors. Actually, the Golden State Warriors are my favorite team to watch right now. For those of you who are into basketball, will know what I'm talking about. They play the game beautifully. Not selfish, passing the ball, getting it to the open person who has the best look. And their defense is amazing. I love watching Draymond Green play defense. That's probably my favorite thing about watching the Warriors is watching Draymond. I'm primarily a defensive player. I've always been. It's just something I just kind of born with. I'm just really, really passionate about playing like good, solid, tight defense. And watching Draymond is just like going to class, seeing the master at work there. And the way they switch on defense too. Everyone can guard anyone. They switch on pick and rolls. It doesn't matter. It's all good. But yeah, it's beautiful basketball, and that's why they're winning. They have the talent, and they know how to find the open man. Let's see. What else did I miss there? Kevin Durant, he did not take the easy route. You kidding? You kidding? And what was that? Game 3, first game in Cleveland, when Curry went like 1 for 13 from behind the arc. He only made 1 3-pointer the whole game, and Thompson wasn't shooting well. Draymond wasn't shooting well. Kevin Durant stepped it up. What did he get, like 35, 40 points that game? He saved them. He's the reason why they won that game. It wasn't for Steph or the shooters. So, no, Kevin Durant is super efficient. He knows how to find the right shot at the right time. He plays beautiful basketball, too. Let's see. Yeah, educate you guys about basketball. I'll get off of basketball now, but you can tell I'm a fan of basketball. I love watching it played well, and I love playing games when it's played well. When I'm playing with other people who know how to play the game right, because most people don't. Most people, if you go play a game of pickup basketball, they don't know how to pass the ball around. They don't know how to find an open man. They don't know how to, when they get double teamed, they don't know how to pass out. They think they can dribble out or whatever. It's horrible a lot of times when I play. Let's see. Favorite player ever? I don't know. Watching Jordan was amazing. The Kobe Shaq era was amazing for the Lakers. I don't know if I have a favorite player ever, but those are good memories for sure. I don't know anything about Aussie rules football. Nothing about that. I didn't even know there's such a thing, to be honest with you. Larry Bird, yeah, that was a cool era too. That era of basketball, the 80s with like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, that was cool. Lakers, Celtics. Let's see. Let's see. What else you guys asking about here? Okay, you enjoy the basketball talk here. It's the only place you hear anything about it. That's cool. I really don't talk about it that much in the live streams, but I'll bring it up. Manu Ginobili, yeah, I think he's an awesome competitor, and if he can keep playing at his age, and he still has game, I think he should keep playing until he's just not able to compete at a level where he feels proud, and he's still playing at a professional level for sure. I mean, he's the kind of player you kind of like to hate. He's not a really likable guy unless you're a fan of the Spurs. But yeah, he's an awesome competitor for sure. He's always a threat. Yeah, Mike the Vegan did a live stream on Millie. He didn't do it on this particular video that I just did, this long, full-length interview with Ed. He did his live stream based on the video that I responded to. So he just did a live stream of that video, the one where she's talking into the camera, she's showing interviews and stuff like that. Kyrie Irving's plant-based diet Nike commercial. I thought I heard about that. No, I guess I must not have seen that. See, we can talk about veganism and basketball in the same breath because of Kyrie Irving, one of the best players in the league on the Celtics. Used to be a teammate of LeBron's, and yeah, he's gone plant-based. As far as I know, he's still doing it. Cool. Did someone out there just buy one of our shirts? I just got a notification that D, if you're out there, D, let me know in the chat. If you're there, D just bought a black happy healthy vegan, one that says happy healthy vegan, the black unisex shirt. So if you're out there, thanks so much, D. Appreciate that. In fact, I gotta get a lot of orders packed. There's been a decent amount of orders this week for our shirt. We have a new shirt. It's gray like this, white, and it says, it's in script, keep it carved, baby. We brought it back because you guys asked about it. In fact, it's selling pretty well. I had to reorder, a couple sizes are out. I think we're out of mediums. I should have new ones coming in Friday night or Saturday, but we'll be gone at that vegan event Saturday. So look for them next week if you need a medium. But yeah, we have the Keep It Carb Baby shirts back due to popular demand. Yeah, Craig Robinson vegan. Yeah, I did a video about Craig Robinson going vegan, and Kyrie. I did that in the same episode actually last year, about a year ago. I did that video. I assume he's still vegan. He seemed, from what I remember, he liked it for the health and weight loss, but he seemed to get the ethical, moral part of it too. And that's what I would say. Come for one and learn all the rest. Whatever brings you here, learn all the other reasons why vegan is such a win. Oh, event, Jude. Yeah, if you just joined us, yeah, we're going to be at in downtown Los Angeles Saturday at an event. It's called Vegan Playground. Look for Vegan Playground. It sometimes goes by the name of Vegan Hard. Bunch of food vendors and speakers. We're just going to go there and eat and talk to viewers and vegan friends and stuff like that. So yeah, come by and just say hi. Vegan Playground, downtown Los Angeles, Pershing Square, I believe. They're going to take over the whole square, like a whole big city block, and just dedicate it for this event. I heard it's going to be kid-friendly, too. I think they're going to have a roller rink, if you're into that kind of thing. Look it up online. I'm just going by some of the info I've heard about it so far. Vegan. And actually, we have a code. I think it'll give you a discount, like maybe $5-10 off or something like that. Go to our Instagram, Happy Healthy Vegan on Instagram. And I don't think it's our most recent Insta post, but check out there. I think we put it up maybe a week or so ago. Look for our it has more information about it. So yeah, a coupon code to get you in for a little bit less. I'm not sure what the admission price is, to be honest with you. Let's see. Cool rainbow of boxes. Thanks for joining in here. How do you keep our relationship strong? Communicate and don't take your partner for granted. If you just do those two things, it's not necessarily sufficient, but it'll get you off in the right direction for sure. Oh, that guitar up there, that's the only one you could probably see. Here's my rack of guitars is back there. That's where my really nice ones are. But the one up here is my first guitar. My parents got it for me when I was in first grade or something like that, and it's been through some rough times. I kind of refurbished it a little bit, and I hung it up on the wall here. I have another one sitting right next to it, but you can't see it. It's a nylon string, but this is an old 3/4 scale steel string guitar of mine from when I was a very young boy. Cool, Chile Holstead. Keep binge watching our videos. Thanks. Awesome. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Oh yeah, Groovy Lisa. Yeah, we'll hit 2,000 200,000, pardon me, subscribers in the relatively near future. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we'll probably hit it in a month or two or something like that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't try to get too hung up on the numbers and stuff like that, but that's cool. It's a nice thing to have. So yeah, that's awesome. Oh, you wish you could stay in this live stream forever, Bogdan. Thank you. I wish I could keep it going on here forever, but all things must come to an end at some point. I got to go have dinner at some point. I hear in the distance Anji chopping vegetables, so she might be making us a soup or a chili of some kind. We will see. And who knows? Hopefully she doesn't need me as rice slave. Hopefully she can do it on her own if need be. Let's see. What, LZ? Your school won't offer soy milk unless you get a doctor's note? Well, soy is not a freaking medicine, and your doctor can't write you a note saying LZ is a vegan. I mean, you're a vegan. You can tell your school administration that. That's just whack. That is whack. I feel so sorry for you that they can't have soy milk. It's not that crazy in 2018 for schools to have some non-dairy options for you. So I guess you just have to bring your own. That sucks. That makes it inconvenient for you. You have to be responsible and bring all your own stuff. Race lever. No, I think we're cool on the triangle players, race lever, but thanks for your offer. If I need any triangle, I'll let you know for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I'll definitely tell Anji hi. If your doctor writing out telling your school you aren't a baby cow, yeah, that's pretty obvious, huh? What back on the toilet, eccentric mofo? I'm kind of afraid to ask. Let's see. What are you guys talking about there? Oh, cool. CB13. You watch the Disneyland videos. Yeah, we have several Disneyland videos. In fact, the one we made this year was exclusively of California Adventure Park, which is at Disneyland here in Anaheim. They have the two parks. So we thought we'd go and explore that one in more depth because, every year we just kind of do the same thing and go to Disneyland. So we tried to make it more, try to expand our horizons a little bit this year. Fave old school rap song. Let's see. What's that one by Grandmaster Flash? It's a jungle. Sometimes it makes me wonder. I keep him going under. I think it's called The Jungle or something like that. So Google that one if you want. Look up Grandmaster Flash, The Jungle. Do I meditate? Not as much as I used to and as much as I wish I did. There's only so much time in the day for activities like that, So I've been more playing basketball and lifting rather than the yoga and meditation stuff this year. I like to do things different. I like to change things up, I like to just experiment a little bit and see what it's like to try something a little different. Never going to switch from veganism, but as far as things I do for physical activity fun, I like to change it up a little bit. Yeah, the Dole Whip. Yeah, you can find Dole Whip not only at Disneyland, but some, like other restaurants and places have Dole Whip too. You got to look around. And the Dole Whip, at least that flavor, the pineapple flavor, is vegan. Let's see. What else you guys talk about? Okay, you asked too many weird questions. Where do you get these from? And I wonder, Kay, do you go onto other people's live streams and ask similarly odd questions? Oh, lactose intolerant students. Okay, I guess that's what your doctor wants to know. Can you just tell your doctor that you're lactose intolerant? They won't give you a test. I really doubt it. Just tell your doctor, him or her, that just look up lactose intolerance and see what the symptoms are. Like you get diarrhea or whatever the symptoms are. Just tell your doctor that. And I'm not telling you to lie, but the end result is you want to get a type of milk that is not does not involve death. It doesn't make you feel ill, because it probably will. So tell your doctor you are intolerant. You're mentally intolerant. You don't have to be physically. I'm intolerant. I tolerate no dairy in my life, no animal dairy. So yeah, tell your doctor you're lactose intolerant. That'll get you the note. And I'd like to see that if your school actually has to purchase some kind of soy or plant-based milk specifically for you. That would be a win. So that's what I suggest you. That's a kind of activism right there. They'll buy one fewer pack of dairy milk every week and invest that in plant-based milk. That's a win. That's called making a start. It's a difference. So try that. I encourage you. And if you do that, please do it, for one. And secondly, if and when you do it, report back and let me know how it goes. Just tell your doctor you're lactose intolerant, both physically and philosophically. And yeah, as people are pointing out, remind them that you're not a cow. Cow milk was designed to take little baby cows and turn them into big, giant cows. Well, human milk was designed to turn a small baby and turn it into a pre-adolescent or whatever, an infant. You're probably past that age, I'm assuming, right? And same with all your fellow students. Let's see. Yeah, most people are lactose intolerant, especially if you go outside the genetics of people of European descent. Once you get into, like, say, Asian, African, yeah, those numbers are definitely over 51%. If you're looking at purely European descent, I think it was like maybe 30-ish%. But yeah, once you get into African and Asian, well over 50%. And yeah, dairy does have opiates. You don't want opiates, but you're going to really confuse your doctor. Just stick with the basic lactose intolerance, and you just can't physically drink it. Tell them you're very hardcore vegan, a very healthy vegan, and you just can't bring yourself to drink dairy because you're vegan. And it's just the whole thought of it creates anxiety and would make you ill. Just the whole process is wrong. So let them know. I don't understand that question, Miss Malibu, about eating the couch and getting high. I want to rephrase that or something. Yeah, and you're right. They are supporting the meat and dairy industries there. So yeah, any more funding you could send away to a soy or almond milk-based company is a win. So yeah, get on that. And if you have another vegan friend or two at that school, you could like join forces, and it would definitely make it worth their while. I'm sure your school has access to non-dairy milks. I'm sure. Have you ever cried in front of Anji, Kay? You keep asking all the crazy questions. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. How's our album going? I think the music's done. We've just been so busy. There's a lot of work. Once the music's done, which takes a lot of work, the whole part of getting it released is you need art and photography most of the time, and if we're probably going to press up some CDs as well. We don't want to go fully into the cloud and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of work, and I'm going to get it mastered. So there's going to be a little time. It'll be out this year for sure. I'm just ready to start making new music too, because I've been working on this album way too long. I'm really ready to shift gears and sail down some new musical, what's the metaphor? Seas? Sail down a sea? Let's see. Would I agree that feminists and SJWs are discrediting vegan activism? If so, I don't want to like blanket stereotype feminists or SJW social justice warriors. I'll just say anyone who just gets like overly sensitive, overly triggered, and then responds inappropriately with the amount of negativity and attack on people is not doing any causes any good. So I'm not saying that's just feminists or SJWs, just anyone. Even if you're not that, you just try not to get triggered like Ed. He totally could have gone off on Millie Millennial there, and he didn't. And Ed's not a SJW or anything like that. At least I don't think he is. I don't think he identifies that. I'm just saying, respond appropriately. Respond with compassion. Because remember, vegans are supposed to be about compassion. It's not just compassion for animals. It's compassion for others. Like Millennial Millie. I mean, I don't hate her or anything like that. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I have compassion. She is a human struggling with the same kinds of stuff that we all are. And maybe on her weird, demented journey, she will see that maybe Ed planted some seeds of doubt in her mind. You never know where you know, the impetus to going vegan can originate at. You guys are laughing at me there, huh? Huh, you're having a hard time eating enough as a high carb vegan? What makes you think you're not eating enough, Lisi? Are you like still like hungry, or you're losing weight? What makes you think you're not eating enough? Just kind of curious. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just kind of curious why you're asking that for. Yeah, Millie is a human. Yeah, there are ignorant humans out there, closed-minded humans out there, and you know, we shouldn't attack them violently or anything like that. So you're hungry all the time. If you're hungry, you're just not able to eat more. Is your stomach like totally full or something like that? It might be the case that if you're hungry, are you losing weight at all too, Lise? If you, Lisi B, do you need to eat more or anything like that? I mean, if your weight's not a problem, or if you are losing weight, you could eat more times in the day. Instead of having like, say, the classic 3 meals a day, have 4 or 5, or maybe 3 meals with a couple medium-sized snacks sprinkled in between. So you should be able to get it done. Even after a pretty mighty meal, I still can probably eat some food like an hour or two after that, but maybe I'm just different. I don't know. Let's see. Am I a right-tard? What are you trying to say, Positive Pioneer? I was just answering a question. If someone asked if I was an SJW, so I have to use the same word, right? I'm not a right-tard or a left-tard or any kind of... Again, that's kind of SJWing right there. It's trying to use a negative word to describe what your perception of me might be or something like that. Again, just that's what I'm saying. We don't need to automatically turn a conversation into confrontation and an attack. You know, it doesn't have to go like that. So that's what I was talking about. People don't need to do that, SJWs or not. All right, guys. I think Angie's making some progress on dinner right now. The sounds I'm hearing out there in the kitchen have taken on a whole different turn. I heard them more chopping. I think she might be walking around because it might be done. So I want to be really respectful to her and not sitting here hiding away in a closed room all night. So thanks guys for joining me on this live stream. It's been cool. I'm going to leave this one up for a while too. I usually take these down and put them up on our Patreon. You can follow us on Patreon too. We're just like Happy Healthy Vegan on Patreon. I leave those up for Patreon. So I'm going to leave this one up because it's a different kind of live stream where I responded to an actual video. It had a lot of vegan content, nothing but vegan content really. So I'm going to leave this up on our channel. So if you joined in late, come back and watch the rest of it. You know, it's hopefully kind of entertaining. I think off to a kind of slow start, but once everything started flowing, I think it was a pretty interesting, fun video, guys. So thanks guys. I'm not sure my next live stream will be. My guess is there won't be any this weekend because we'll be gone Saturday. It'll probably be next Wednesday after my running club. So just letting you guys know there. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And I'm gonna go keep it carb myself. So remember, we're gonna be at Vegan Playground this weekend, this Saturday in downtown Los Angeles. Google it, the Vegan Playground, and follow our band Lovespirals Official on Instagram and YouTube. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Thanks for watching tonight.